folks, this is Dave Wood, and we just popped on live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a minute here, make sure people can hear me. So if you're on the page, if you could refresh the page and make sure that, hold on a second here. Tony, can you go to that page real quick? Tell me if you see the comments.
Yeah, I do not see comments.
Hold on a second here. Let me do something real quick. Stream name. We'll just do this. Mastermind broadcast. All right, let's try this. See if I can get the comments back on here.
There they are.
They're back?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, I just redid it, so it might disappear again for a second. Yeah, it disappeared again for a second. So we'll be on live, and people will be able to see us and comment in a second. Guys, if you if you guys can see this broadcast, this is Dave Wood. I'm talking to you from Costa Rica. We've got Tony Rush. I can't remember where you live, Tony. I think you're in Alabama here. And just real quick, I'm going to send the email to Tracy Walker. She's going to come join us. Chris Record, he's going to come join us. Actually, Dave Sharp said he could come on as well last minute, so that's cool. And we're going to just chill out for the next... who knows how long? I think, Tony, you'll be here for about 90 minutes. Then you said you're going to jet. And we've got other people kind of coming on intermittently through the night. And the goal of tonight, guys, is actually really simple. The goal of tonight is I want to talk to you guys about how to get what you want in 2013. It's what I spent Monday night on our conference call talking about. Those of you who were on it, a whole bunch of people couldn't get on it. It's actually up in the members area right now in Empower Network if you're a member. And if you're not, of course, get in. But what I want to do is I want to elaborate on that. And I wanted to show you how to really tap into the resources that you have available to you right now to start creating the success that you want in your life. I want to show you how to do it easier, quicker, and faster than you've ever been able to do it in the past. I also want to show you to do it in a way that works, in a way that's been proven to work. And just as a warning, of course, with everything that I say, it tends to contradict what a lot of other people say out there that aren't in Empower Network. And the reason it does is because we have a different intention, mission, and vision in Empower Network than I think a lot of the rest of the marketing world has, at least. Because our vision and our intention here really is to help you make as much money as possible. In fact, I've actually never been in a room like this, Tony, where, you know, we've done it, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of what I've always wanted, you know what I mean? But I've never been in a room with a company owner where they get you in a room and they say, how can we help you make more money, you know?
Right, right.
You know what I mean? It's our intention here. And so, guys, with that being said, what I'm going to do, Tony, you know, why don't we take a minute here since we're just getting going. People are on the page. If you're watching the video on the page, folks, if you hit refresh, the comments should be popping up any minute now. I just had to re-embed the comments back on the page. But you guys feel free to leave your thoughts, questions as we go through this through here. No wussies allowed in the comments. Anybody complains or spams, we're going to delete you and ban you from commenting on the site. Just warning you in advance, and we might call you out like the Flanagan that we did last week. That was just awful, but he deserved it. Tony, you know, can you share a little bit about your story, you know, for people on here who haven't heard it, just kind of your background and where you come from, what happened a year ago to get you involved in Empower Network? While you're doing that, I'm going to mute myself out here for a sec and send an email off to these guys, make sure they could get on. I've also got to go grab something here, and I'll be right back. Is that cool?
Yeah, and by the way, Wood, if you wouldn't mind, make sure that video is embedded properly. I'm seeing people say that they can't see us live yet. So
hold on just a second. Let me. Currently unavailable. What the heck? Hold on.
It may still be refreshing.
Currently unavailable. That's weird, actually. Hold on a second. Unleash your future. Ah, it's here. Okay, hold on a second. Unleash your future. Ah. It's currently unavailable to. I'm doing something funky there. That's my fault. So, hold on just a second here. Embed. Ah, wrong link. Leave it to me, Tony. Leave it to me. You know what I'm saying? I know. I really gotta. All right. Let's see. What was the? Let's see. I'll go to 2013. I'll do this one, master, and then we'll do. All right. The comments are gonna disappear here for a second as well. Let's see if this works. Hold on a second here. Is it back, guys? If you guys can see me, refresh the page. If you're on the page, it should work.
Yeah, it is. It's back, and comments are there too.
Comments are there too? Okay. And guys, you might want to refresh the page if you're watching this video anyways, because the comments might be, there's this funky thing on this page. It's just the weirdest page on our site, so I don't need to explain any of that. So Tony, we're live now. Apologize to everybody on here who was waiting there, and I actually talked for a minute. And I'm not going to do the introduction again. Tony's going to start talking. I need to get Dave Sharp, Tracy Walker, and a couple other people on the live stream, so I'm just going to go resend out an invite, mute myself out, guys. Get ready for an amazing night tonight hanging out. Invite your friends on Facebook and your friends in your email and things like that to just come hang out with us for a little while. Log in to share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's lock arms, fight the forces of evil tonight, help you release your inner badass, as we like to say. Tony, over to you, brother.
Right on, man. Well, hey, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's Wednesday night. We're kicking off a brand new year, and I want to commend you for being here on the webinar tonight, because there was probably something on TV that you could be watching, but you're not. You're here to talk about and think about how to make your life exactly what you want it to be in 2013. That's a beautiful thing. Dave asked me to share my story real quickly while we bring some other people on the line here, and if I could sort of set the table, let me offer you this. It's a concept that really changed my life the first time I heard it, and it definitely applies here. You are where you are right now because of your best thinking. Your best thinking has created the situation that you've got right now. So if you want better results in life, then you got to trade in some of your current ideas for better ideas. And this is basically what I did about soon to be 14 months ago next week. So my story was like a lot of people, really. I bounced around the network marketing industry for years and years, and doing the grind, you know, calling prospects, buying leads, calling leads, doing all the stuff that network marketers do. And you know what? I made good money, and I'll be honest about that. I made really good money, but I wasn't having a lot of fun. We talk about time freedom. We talk about the ability to create the kind of life you want. And it was great having money coming in and having a team that was growing in a company that was something I believed in. But at the same time, I can't tell you how many times I've left my wife, Jessica, sitting in a restaurant eating appetizers by herself because I got to go out to the lobby, you know, to take a phone call from a prospect, somebody that might want to buy something. And it got to be where I was on the phone. If the phone rang at 7 a.m., I would answer it. If it rang at 11 p.m., I would answer it. And doing three-way calls, man, from 9 o'clock at night till 11 o'clock at night. You know, people on my team calling saying, you know, hey, I got this guy named Bob. He was just on the presentation. Can you pop on the line with him and answer a few questions? Because people would say, well, nobody can do a three-way call like Tony. So that was the good thing, right? Nobody can do a three-way call like Tony. But the bad side is that nobody could do a three-way call like Tony. So naturally, my phone was ringing off the hook with people wanting me to speak to their prospects. And, you know, when the money's coming in, you don't think that much about it. But around June of last year, I hit this wall where I just absolutely could not continue doing it anymore. It was just like, you know what? I just assumed somebody punched me right in the mouth as to have to get on the phone and talk to prospects. And I was severely in danger of burning out when somebody said, hey, did you hear that David Wood and David Sharp have started a new training program? Now, a little sidebar, I knew David Wood by name only, but I was leaving a company maybe 3 years ago, about the same time David Wood was coming on board, and he had something like, I don't know, it was like 200 and something people joined his team in the first month, and he never made a phone call, which, you know, that's not normal. That's not normal at all. And so when somebody said, hey, yeah, David Wood and David Sharp are starting a training company, here was my evil scheme, my plan, right, was I'm going to join this Empower Network thing to figure out how to work my MLM better. So I actually didn't even come here for the money, and I didn't come here with a list. I didn't come here with a big budget either, because after having nearly burned out last summer, I spent most of the summer doing nothing. So I got here with a very, very tiny budget, no list to speak of, and I started following the system. And December of last year, my wife was looking at our bank account online, and she said, what are all these little $200 and $300 deposits? It's like every day. It's like every day. And I said, that's that thing. That's that Empower Network thing. That's that thing that David Wood started. And she looked at me and she said, let me get this straight. You're making $300 a day after a little over a month, and you're not having to make phone calls to do it. And it was just like walking into a dark room and turning on the light switch. That I realized, my word, I am not having to grind. I'm not having to do all these things that people have to do. And so, long story short, it was about 2 or 3 months later before I had some stuff going on in my family, and then one thing and another. But in my 4th month in the business, David Wood hosted a webinar on how to make $1,000 a day. And I thought, whatever he says to do on this webinar, I'm just going to go do it. And in our 5th month, we made a little over $34,000. We did $45,000 the next month. It has grown and grown and grown. And so now, 14 months later, we've done, I think now, a little bit over $605,000 or $610,000. But here's the beautiful thing. I'm much easier to live with than I used to be. I'm not beating the phone. I'm not, this weird vibe in the house of, what dad needs to go make some phone calls to make some money, but he doesn't enjoy what he's doing, but he's got to do it to make the money. And it's just a beautiful thing. So the lifestyle now is truly the best of both worlds. Having the money and having the grind is certainly better than no money at all. But the realization that I had is that there's absolutely no reason in the world why anybody should have to ever pick up the phone and beat the phone and grind and prospect and do all these other hassles that are normally associated with the home business industry. So I've not done any prospecting. I don't do these little, home parties. I don't run around and chase my friends and family. I basically follow the system that David Wood and David Sharp have laid out here, and it has just it's been amazing. I think today I'm a little over $4,200 or so in personal income for the day, which is mind-boggling to me. So it's a beautiful thing. Wood, are you back? Are we good? Uh-oh. I think he might be muted. Okay. He may actually be on the telephone. He's working, you can tell. So let me kind of set the table here for tonight, and we'll be back in just a moment. So what this is really about is not my story. This is not even about David Wood's story. This is about your story. 2013, right now, we have all been where you're sitting right now. If you're a guest on this line tonight, even if you're a brand new member, what we're going to do tonight is invite you to push the reset button. We all know what that's like, right? You got something in your computer, electronics, DVD, computer, something. You ever know when you're not getting the results you want, even if you're getting good results, but you want something better, a lot of times if you just go push the reset button, it just freshens everything up, doesn't it? I have a router that's like that. Every once in a while I have to go reboot my router if I want to get the really good internet speed. Well, tonight's call is all about doing the same thing. It's about pushing the reset button. And here's the thing. Let me share this with you. Everybody comes here for the money. Okay? Everybody comes here for the money. That's what we specialize in. 100% commissions. You don't have to be a guru to earn guru money. But here's the other thing. What you will get in your journey to earning a very large income from home is a sense of personal responsibility, autonomy, power, empowerment, right? And these are actually all the more valuable things that you get alongside building a big bank account. So tonight, what we want to do is we want to lay out the foundation. It doesn't matter if you're building a house, whatever. You've got to have a foundation. And the foundation that we want to lay out here for you tonight is based on right thinking, right action, and taking action now. Powerful decisions and powerful actions with no delay. Because if you have those three things and you put them together and you constantly keep the focus on that, there's absolutely no limit to what you can achieve. And so when you got the right company, the right products, and the right pay plan, and you couple what Empower Network's got, and then you add the right action and the right decisions with no delay, you can absolutely knock the cover off the ball in 2013.
Well, absolutely, brother. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, yeah, my mute button was like frozen out, and couldn't talk there. I'm gonna be hopping back and forth with these guys, trying to get them to be able to join. We always have hard times getting people on these things for whatever reason. But I'm trying to get Tracy and Dave Sharp, and actually just those two right now on it. For whatever reason, they can't find the page. So Maybe you could help them while I'm
Yeah,
chit-chatting here.
I'll do that. You go ahead and talk.
Okay, guys, here's the deal. All right, if you're on this live stream now, and this is what I want to talk about tonight with you. Is first of all, I just kind of want to have a heart to heart with all of you guys who are watching this. Some of you guys are on my list. Some of you, you're members of Empower Network. Some of you are serious members of Empower Network. You're actually focused here. Some of you are in like 800 things, and you're not really serious about any of them, or you're serious about another business. Some of you are really here to learn how to market another business. Some of you here are just learn how to market, learn how to sell. Some of you are here because you like it. There's all kinds of varieties of people, and in those, we've got a lot of different levels of success that are on this webinar. Some of you guys who are watching this probably make 30 and 40 and 50 and $100,000 a month in a traditional network marketing business. Some of you guys are some of the most successful marketers on the internet. We got a huge variety of personalities here at Empower Network that all stay around because they really just love us, and we love them too, and we love you guys. And that's a thing that I think is a key distinction here with Empower, is the heart and the energy and the intent that it started with is different than anything that I've ever been involved with before. I don't know if any of you guys were here last week. You saw that I did a hangout actually last week sometime with Lawrence Tam, who's made $500,000 with us over the last year. But if you guys have been watching us for a long time, one thing that I hope that you realize by now is, number one, we're here to stay. Number two, oh, look at Sharp. We got Sharp on here. Badass, brother. You're looking sharp, by the way. I don't know if anybody said that to you today, but you are.
It's about time somebody noticed.
Good to see you, brother. How's your Christmas?
It was good, man. It's all been just one big vacation. I keep trying to ask people, is it over? Because all the days just run in together for me, but it was good, man.
Well, sometimes I forget to actually take a vacation because every day is sort of like a vacation, and so it becomes like this thing where it's like every day's a vacation, and then there's a holiday, and you forget. So, I know you just had a whole bunch of your friends, over the other day. You were throwing a party with 100 friends in the mansion, and I bet they're all like, "You're shitting me. What the hell's going on?" I actually am going out. I'm going out to meet up with my family. My brother. I don't know if I told you that my little brother Johnny's getting married next week, and I'm flying some family.
I found out from somebody else actually.
Well, I'm flying some family out. Because they couldn't afford to come, so I'm flying some of the extra family out that want to come but can't afford to go. I'm renting. I'm paying for everybody's hotel rooms, and they were gonna stay in like a cheap hotel to save money, just kind of hang out as a fam, and I said no. First, 5-star. So we're gonna put my whole family up in like a 5-star hotel for a few days, and then I'm renting a Hummer limo, and I'm now trying to rent a yacht for everybody. It's just fun doing cool stuff for fam, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I flew in yesterday. I took my girls to a kind of a little surprise vacation. It was really intended to be kind of a daddy-daughter thing, and Aaron got this wild bug, and it's so funny because I mean we talk about jobs in school, and in many cases I think that school is kind of one of the biggest scams that the country has ever come up with. But I don't want to get off into a government rant, but Erin got this wild hair bug, decided that she might want to become a doctor or whatever. So just for the hell of it. And so she was kind of studying and came along and everything, and Bailey and I hung out, and then we got back into town. And that same day, we threw a party for 100 people here at the house, and we just sent out a little invite to some of our friends on Facebook. I've got some other personal stuff going on, and just I got home and 100 people were at my house, and a DJ was there, and it was one of the most badass New Year's Day parties ever, man. But it is, and I think one of the things that people want, that I wanted, was just the ability to be able to pick up and go and do whatever you want to do with no time constraints, no limitations. Just to keep it real, my dad, he hadn't always taken care of his teeth that well. This is my pops. This is a guy who almost 5 years ago, and I don't say 5 years ago because it's not 5 years yet. It will be in February. He helped me get clean. He helped me. He loaned me his couch. He didn't know if I was going to stay clean this time, but he loaned me his couch and let me sleep on his couch. And 5 years later, almost 5 years later, of course, I'm obviously not sleeping on his couch anymore. He needed some dental work, and for Christmas I just got him all this dental work. You know what I'm saying? My mom, we went on a vacation here not too long ago, just in town to the Don Cesar, and my mom wanted to go, so for Christmas we got her a week or a weekend or whatever the hell we got her at the Don Cesar. I mean, I'll tell you what's cool, and then I'll turn it back over to you, is just the ability to be able to not only do whatever you want to do, but also to pass that on and take your family with you. You know what I'm saying? And give them the things that they deserve for just being your family. Whatever the relationship has been in the past, whatever however things have gone down. For me, my parents always did the best that they could with what they had, and now I have the ability to help them out and give them cool stuff when I do, and it feels good.
Hey, hold on a second, man. I'm going to see if I can't get Chris and Tracy invited on here again. Did you have to go to that Hangout page in order to find it? I think somebody else might have just popped on. Hold on just one second.
No, I went to your page. Tony finally gave me clear instructions, and I went, we don't know how to work these technical things.
Hey Tony, can you respond to that email thread and maybe give Chris Record instructions on, he's trying to get on as well. He just sent me an email. Maybe you can help him out here real quick. We're technically retarded, which is hilarious because we're internet guys. It's funny, Dave, and I don't know if you ever run into this actually, where you tell people know that we make a lot of money on the internet. And they make an immediate set of assumptions about it. You know what I mean? It's like they're like, oh, you make money on the internet, therefore you're a programmer. Oh, I wish I knew what you knew. You know what I mean? Or hey, people have been around us for a while. No, that's just not the case, because then the Hangouts would start on time and the pages would work all the time. You know what I mean? And something's wrong with the site and we'd just be able to go fix it immediately ourselves. You know what I mean? And sometimes they don't realize that we've actually got 40 employees now. And so if you look at that, what we actually do, guys, is we have this vast array of talented people that do all the technical stuff that we're not good at, and then we focus on doing what we are good at, which is pretty much like two or three things. Yeah, two things. Well, Dave Sharp's, he's good at writing copy, and he's good at writing copy.
I'm not good at spelling, though. I thought it was funny. I actually, just to give you guys, I thought it was hilarious. I just sent out an email. The headline was, "I'm on TV, watch me now." And inside, I made at least one spelling error, but a guy sent me an email back, and he said, in one of the lines I said, and then yesterday I had 100 of my closet friends. I meant to say closest friends, but it says closet friends. And a guy sent me a response back saying, "You're going to be on TV and you have closet friends." And I almost fell out of my chair laughing because it was so funny. But I mean, here's the cool thing: is not only are we not programmers and tech guys and all this stuff, but shit, I can't even spell.
No, you can't. You can't actually. It's pretty hilarious. I actually, when I copy your emails sometimes and I read them and I see the spelling errors in there and I don't correct them. I just send it out. You know what I mean? I just send it out as is. But each time I send a Dave Sharp email out, I offend 3 English teachers. Tony, I don't know if you ever got that with Dave's emails, but it's actually true. Like I said, if I send his emails and people think it's me, if I just copy and I swipe it, you know what I mean? I get it's not 3. I mean, but it's at least 1 every time. It's like there and there are not the same thing. It needs an apostrophe in it. You know what I mean? It's just hilarious. But it just goes to show that he dropped. Did he drop down in what, 9th grade? Did you drop out?
Yeah,
9th grade. I don't even know if you went to school, Tony. I think you went to. Did you go to college or you go through high school? I can't remember.
No, I was going to go to Bible college. I took a few classes.
You were going to go to Bible college? Is this the same Tony that I know that posts the things you post on your wall? I'm curious here. Okay.
Yeah, so no college here either.
No college? Okay, no college here either. So not college graduates, not technical people, okay? And Tony's probably the most organized out of the 3 of us on here. I actually got a funny story here that, I had remember the chef I had living in my house for a little while, Tony? I brought her to the last event so she could run around and cook Ashley dinner,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. So we have this chef living in the house, and I refuse to tell her what I do for a living, right? Because I never explain it to anybody when
Right.
in personal conversations, because I find that it's really fascinating anyway, because what happens is that people find out, we're in an industry that it's kind of a unique industry, and power's in a different space. It really is. It's not really network marketing. It's not really direct sales. It's not really affiliate marketing. It's kind of its own thing. And it really is for a lot of a variety of reasons. And it's got kind of elements of all of them, but it's not really any of them quite. I mean, we've got affiliates, but we're just not a normal straight affiliate marketing company. And we've got people with teams, and it's not really just a normal network marketing business. So we're kind of in our own little space here. And I start explaining it, and then people ask, questions about it. And then if they think that it's network marketing, they immediately do something like, "Oh yeah, I'd never do something like that,"
Right,
or assuming that I'm trying to get them in when really they asked me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that ever happens to you, but people, they're like, "Oh yeah, whatever," because I just don't feel like explaining it. So what I've gotten really used to actually over the years is I actually will not answer the question ever. It's hilarious. And somebody says, "What do you do?" And I say, I just flat out can't tell you. It's that secret.
I just can't tell you.
We got the Walker. Tracy, great to have you on. So I won't tell them, right? I won't tell them what I do, right? And they ask, and I say, I can't tell you. And they say, well, what is it? And I say, I'll tell you, I can't tell you exactly what I do, but I make a lot of money doing nothing. It's
Right.
And then they'll say, well, what do you do? And keep prying, and I won't answer the question ever, right? And then what happens is they get so curious, they go look me up on the internet by themselves and just join. Happens all the time, right? And so this chef lives in my house, and I won't tell her what I do, but I'm doing the webinars, and we're talking, and she can't. She's just trying to listen to me and figure out what we're doing without watching the sales videos and stuff.
Right.
And she says, well, what are you doing? And I say, nothing really, And she's like, what are you doing? She asked Ashley. Ashley's like, I got to play along with this, nothing, And so she gets so curious. So she comes to our event, and she doesn't know what we do at the event. But anyways, I'm going up to the hotel. We're going in there. We have that leadership conference thing in the San Diego event, and I need to pay, for something in the hotel room with my credit card. So I was looking for like my Empower Network corporate credit card, right? Because I don't have like one with an unlimited limit, because I'm not just running around spending the company's money on whatever I want.
Right.
We have people that are planning the events, and they're spending that money with the corporate cards and stuff. So I got a card with like a little limit, but it always gets blocked. I should talk to you about that, Dave. It always gets blocked because like I'm in different countries all the time, right? So I got this card, but anyways, I open up my backpack, and I'm pulling through like piles of cash that I had in my backpack with different currencies, trying to find my Empower Network corporate credit card. And she's sitting there like, this is my chef, and she's looking at me, and she says, "You're kidding me. You run a company." And I said, "No, not really. I own one, And then I sell stuff, and then I've got people who are better than me at it who run it." And she's just like, "You got to be shitting me." But she went to that whole event, that whole weekend, and still could not figure out what we did, because she wasn't in the meetings. She just wanted she wanted somebody to tell her, right? And then somebody's like, "Don't you work for Dave?" And she's like, "Yeah, I live in his house." And they're like, "And he didn't tell you?" And she says, "No." They said, "Well, I can't tell you." So here, what happened? She goes back home to Costa Rica mad because nobody will tell her what we're doing. And then she gets mad and sits on the site for 8 hours watching videos and joins. It's hilarious. Tracy, how you doing?
Fun.
I am wonderful. How are you? Finally, I'm here.
Oh, dude, hey, great to have you. I shouldn't call you dude. That's
Yes,
wrong
right.
terminology there.
Hey, I've got a
The
quick
boys
story.
club.
What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say, Tony?
I've got a quick story. So it's just related to that. I think I told this in San Diego, but so any time that you do something that's outside the status quo, it makes people nervous. So not only do we work at home, but we also homeschool. And not for any weird reasons. It's just that we wanted to be the primary influence in our children's upbringing. Not a daycare worker or a school teacher. We wanted to, be the primary influence in their life. And we also thought, well, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you do a science unit study this week on volcanoes, and then next week you just fly to Hawaii and show the kids a volcano, or hey, we're going to study the ancient Romans. And then the next month, you hop on a plane and take the kids to Rome and show them, well, there's where Julius Caesar was executed. So we're already weird, right? Because we make this ridiculous amount of money, and we don't appear to do anything. So we never, our neighbors are all going to work in the morning. We live in kind of a small neighborhood. There's maybe 20, 30 houses in here. And most of the people are still working. So, we're at home when they leave. We're at home when they come back. They see our kids in the middle of the day, so that freaks them out. They think they're truant or something, I guess. So anyway, so there was this whole thing where for a long time, we eat out all the time. We eat out constantly because, Jessica's doing school stuff in the morning with the kids. I'm doing work stuff. Neither one of us want to dirty up the kitchen. So we just made an agreement years ago that we just always eat out as a family for lunchtime, So we're out for lunch, and so we're always going to the same kind of favorite places. So one day we go to this Mexican place, and we're ordering, and the server says, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Is it true what they say about you?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, he said, I've been here for a couple weeks, and first time you came in, all the workers were talking about how you guys you just got back from Barcelona and just got back from Australia, and you don't appear to do anything. You're in here all hours of the day, and I was just wondering if it was true." And I said, "What do you think I do? What have you been told?" And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Are you the guy that invented the pop-up?" He thought I invented the little windows that pop up that are annoying, all these ads. I don't know if they were pulling his leg or what, but they told this kid that I invented the pop-up, and I was like some gajillionaire that lives in Dothan and doesn't have to do anything. Somebody else said that I don't know if I told you this or not, but there was another thing that I had invented like in restaurants, they don't crack eggs in the kitchen. Like if they're cooking, they don't crack eggs. The restaurant buys a carton of pre-cracked eggs. You guys know this?
I can't even boil water though, so I don't know why I wouldn't.
Yeah. So just so y'all know, I apparently invented the idea of selling eggs in cartons so that you just pour the eggs out of a carton instead of cracking eggs. That's the other thing. So it's funny because when nobody knows what you do, they will make up the craziest and wildest stuff to try to figure out how to cubbyhole you, how to put you in a cubbyhole. So they see someone like Tracy Walker in Atlanta. They're like, well, here's this young, beautiful woman, and she doesn't appear to do anything, and she's just all the time driving around these luxury, exotic cars and whatever. They have to cubbyhole you. They got to figure out you're either dealing drugs, right? That you're either dealing drugs, or you're some freakazoid who is building a compound in the neighborhood or something. I don't know. Anyway,
hey,
I thought
Tracy, didn't you get like a what did you just buy? I thought you just had something delivered.
My Maserati, the Gran Turismo.
We should just end the hangout at that.
I don't even know what that. Call me the ignorant guy. I actually don't know what that is.
Don't worry, you'll see it tomorrow. I'll do a video.
Okay, sweet Maserati. Is that like a car or something? I really don't know.
It's a very nice car.
That's one of the most gangster cars you could get, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, you got one of those too. I don't know nothing about cars, so you got, which is hilarious. But you got that. I can't even remember what it is. That car that you got.
Range Rover.
Yeah. Oh, Range Rover. Yeah. Dave Shire's like, dude, I just got this Range Rover, and I was like, what's that? It's like a 4-wheeler or something.
Well, I went down to your house for the very first time back, almost 2 years ago now, and I pulled up, and I honestly expected to see, something, anything, and I pulled up, and there was this piece of shit sitting over in the corner, and then we got in the damn thing and started driving, and like shit started falling off of it and everything, and I was like, my God, I was like, what the hell is going on here? Then we drove down that hill, which Dave lives up on top of a mountain. We always make fun of that because, of the gurus who sit up on top of a mountain. We're not those who actually lives on top of a mountain. None of you, I think, have been there, but the drive down, it's like you actually could, but besides the fact that I don't think you want to drive around the Beamer all over the place, down in Costa Rica, because it's more fun probably to be elusive and probably a little bit safer. To kind of just blend in. But that a Maserati wouldn't make it one time down this thing. It's actually not a real road. It actually looks like, cavemen just kind of broke the mountain up and, dynamited it up. You can't go down, honestly, without bumping your head on the top of the SUV because, you're shaking around and you're honestly like this going down the hill. And I mean, every other day I'm on the phone and I talk to Dave and he's like, yeah, my car's down at the bottom of the hill. It broke down. Some guy's working on it. It's like, so it just, that's why he doesn't know what anything is except a beat up piece of shit SUV because he's never, I don't think, you lived in a van and then you bought a piece of shit SUV. It's hilarious.
Well, he had a BMW, didn't you? Wood had a BMW for about 24 hours, didn't you, Dave?
Well, yeah, no, not really. What happened was, there's this affiliate marketing competition where the top guy got to win a BMW. This is when I was really new on the internet. Tracy remembers. And I was coming out of nowhere because at the time everybody was being taught to, make these little short intro videos when somebody opted into a capture page and then to call their leads. It's kind of what everybody was doing. I said, what if I just sold this like an Amway presentation but in a video? And so I made this 90-minute presentation to sell this dollar thing, right? And then I just started focusing on getting more people to that. And I actually hadn't studied a lot about making sales videos at the time. It was just natural for me to do that. But that video was out converting everybody that was doing the phone stuff by 3 and 4 to 1. So what happened was I came out of the internet and I was bringing in 2, 3, 4, 5 people a day into that, a couple people a day into my company. This was 3 years ago, and then I won this car, right? So I went down to an event where basically, I told them, I live in Costa Rica. If I drive a BMW around, I'll get shot, and where I live anyway. Maybe in a city it'd be normal because you could park it in a place with security guards. But I was like, I can't drive that around, and it would get broken halfway up my road, especially with the way that I drive. And so I said, I'll just take the cash. And so they basically went and got a car so we could drive around filming videos with it. And I just took 18 grand because they were paying for a year and a half lease or something like that. One of these days, though, I'll feel like I'm in the mood and go, funny story, actually. You run into unique problems when you start making a lot of money, right? You're going to think this is funny, Tony, because probably. So I was in Panama the other week, right? And I got stuck there because I never told Justin this. Justin, if you're on this hilarious story about about Colombia. I went to Colombia to hang out with Justin because the end of the world's going to happen and it's the safe zone, right? So he picks up, and moves down there with his wife in case the world flips upside down like this at the end of the world. So I went down to just hang out with him, and I was supposed to come right back to Costa Rica, right? Well, I get down to Colombia, and then we go hang out. We made some hilarious videos down there, and I get to hang out. I love hanging out with people that do what we do. The Adam Whiting was down there. Justin was down there. Troy, I don't know if you met Troy. We called him the MLM Jesus at the thing because he had that beautiful long curly, beautiful Jesus looking hair in the movies. I don't know if Jesus' hair probably actually looked like that, but it kind of like Troy looks like that. But he he's like this SEO guy and things like this. So we were out chatting marketing, and then I go home with my, I get to the airport to go back to Costa Rica, and they say, "Where's your doctor's slip?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, you can't just go straight from Colombia to Costa Rica. You need to get a vaccine against yellow fever or something like that." And I said, "And then you need to wait 10 days, right?" And so I'm there, it's 2 days till Christmas or 3 days till Christmas or something like that. And Ashley's in Costa Rica. We'd been traveling. She didn't feel like going to the Colombia thing just because she'd been in 5 places right before then, just on vacations and things. And I was like, really? And they said, "Yeah, you just can't do that." I said, "You can't just do it." I said, "What if I just slipped you 100?" So I just started pulling money and saying to the guy, and he wouldn't let me through, right? I was like, "Come on, it's Panama. I'm supposed to be able to bribe, it's Colombia. I'm supposed to be able to bribe my way back." You know what I mean? I've heard the stories. But anyway, so he wouldn't let me through. So I said, "Okay, what if I just went through Panama? Because I know you don't have to do this in Panama, and then I go from Panama to Costa Rica." And he says that can work. So I bought a ticket to Panama, and I'm stuck there, right? And while I'm there, I'm wandering around and I'm buying stuff, and I see this watch that I want to buy, and it's this $50,000 watch, right? And I just felt like buying it because it's this solid gold watch, and I think a $40,000 watch is ridiculous, right? And I can't buy it. I can't actually spend my money because I've always never had credit cards, and I don't have bank accounts, right? Or I have bank accounts. I have debit cards, right? And the debit card at my bank account only lets me spend like $5,000 on cash and then $5,000 on credit every single day. And the credit is just tied to the checking account. And so I can't spend the money that I have in my account. And I just like wanted to buy this watch so I could sit here in my crappy clothes with like a $40,000 or $50,000 watch and just kind of like, talk like this. And just, I think it would be completely hilarious. That and my expensive pen, right? So anyway, so I'm sitting there in this, I'm trying to spend money and I can't spend it. And so I get frustrated. I call my bank and I'm trying to get a credit card, not because I need the credit card, but just so I can spend my money, right? I'm like, if I want to spend money, I want to be able to spend it, right? Like just so I just want to be able to go buy a car. I don't want to have to bother with having to go through all these steps. I have a stupid bank just because I've had it for years, right? Other banks, it's easier to do this stuff. And so anyways, finally, this is what it works down to, is in order to be able to spend my money, right? And I just did this. I said, I want a card that I could just go spend $100,000 if I want something. Because weird stuff pops up when you're making a lot of money, you're doing events and things like this. There's stuff nobody knows of that pops up, like expensive stuff that needs to be paid for right then. Dave Sharp, it's happened to us a couple times. We're at an event and they say we need $15,000 or an hour, or we have to kick all you guys out. Happened in Costa Rica, right? We just didn't tell anybody about that. So we had to, because our cards were blocked because of the bank or whatever. So I was like, well, it'll be good for that. So I had to, so finally I said, well, how about this? How about if I just, because I don't get loans, right? I'm bad credit, but I don't get loans, right, for anything, so I don't need it. So I said, how about this? What about if I just put $100,000 on a card? Will you give me the limit of the money that's backing the card so I can just have a $100,000 limit on my card and buy what I want? So finally, after all that hassle, they gave me a $100,000 limit on my card because I had to put $100,000 on it just to be able to spend the money. I think that's funny.
That is hilarious. That is the craziest. Don't get me started, man.
Hey Tracy, I know you popped on here. Great to see you, by the way. How was your Christmas and New Year's?
My Christmas and New Year's was phenomenal. I pretty much just ate a lot on Christmas, and New Year's didn't do too much. We went and hung out. I was like, I'm gonna hung out, and crazy thing is, every year when we would do something for New Year's, everyone looks forward to the countdown. Everyone loves to say 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 all the way down to 1. And this crazy DJ that we had just said, oh, there's 1 minute left. And he kept playing the music. And then he just out of the blue said, Happy New Year. So I was kind of pissed that we didn't even get a chance to count down to the 2013 New Year. But other than that, we had a good time and ate. I drank a little bit of Moscato and was done.
It's awesome. Well, it's just fun having you here. My computer's a little bit frozen here. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Everyone's talking about because I changed my hair color. Everybody sees I have red hair now.
No, it's awesome.
I know your hair looks great, Trace, by the way.
Had to change it up for 2013.
You got to.
It looks red hot.
Red hot. Love that, Dave.
That's it. Well, it's cool. What's cool about that is, I mean, just the fact, and I know you're changing it up just for 2013, but just the fact this year is going to be a big change for everybody in a lot of respects. I mean, whether people are marketing in a business or they're not marketing in a business right now, or maybe they're doing like home parties or whatever, or they're out there doing other stuff online, or maybe they're focused here. 2013 is going to be a massive year here, and it's going to be a big change. In Empower, I've looked at what we've done, and we'll get into this more as we go through the night, and we'll get into how, and we'll also get into how to focus on that, guys, because what I really wanted to do was get these guys on here for a variety of reasons, but I want to hear their stories, because these stories are priceless to me. But I also want to kind of like go into their minds here as we go through tonight and take out the things that really set them apart, because if you guys look on this webinar, or this live stream or hangout or whatever it is we're calling it, we've got Dave Sharp and myself. We founded Empower Network, and we make money like the people do. And we make, as affiliates here, it ranges $180,000 to $360,000 a month. We've actually gone a little over 360, and we don't really usually dip below 180 for any reason. But we do that every single month with a trend of up. Kind of goes like this. And we've been doing that for the last year. And then we've got, Chris Record. He's been with us since June. Chris Record is he's a guy who's part-time, at least to my knowledge. I think he's still part-time. He's there, and I don't know what he did this month, but I know it was close to 40,000 in the month, and most of it was done in like the first half of the month. Then we've got Tony. Tony's making 100,000 a month with us. I think last month, I think in December it was like 94 or something like that, 95. Today it was like 6 or 7,000 or something. I think you've made. But yeah, Tony's making 100,000 a month. Then we've got Tracy, and Tracy's up 40, 50,000 a month right now, and it's all going to get a lot bigger in 2013. And so, looking at that, guys, and a lot of these stories that you hear are super important, and the way that we tell stories are important for a variety of reasons. So I want you to pay attention to a lot of the background of what's going on. Chris Reckard's probably the least fanatical storyteller of any of us, but he's very specific and kind of on point all the time, very organized and structured in everything that he does because he's got a lot to do and he's got a little bit of time to do it in. But there's a difference in the attitudes and the belief and the words of people that are succeeding and creating massive movement in life, and those that are they think they're doing the same thing that we're doing, and they're not doing the same thing that we're doing. Okay? So everything that goes on tonight, stories, laughs, whatever it is we're doing, I want you guys to stop and pay attention to it, right? And I want you to take action on what we talk about through the course of the evening here, because our goal this year is nothing short of incredible for you. Because in order to hit my goals for this next year, I actually have to lift you up. I have to figure out a way to do it. I have to stretch myself in order to figure out how to lift more people up. Because if we look at it, this is a really funky industry. And I don't know what to call Empower Network, so I'm just going to call it the Empower industry, because we're different than everything that's out there in one way or another, right? But it's a really different industry in the sense that we can make money just selling stuff. We can make money just selling stuff. We can actually make quite a lot of money just selling stuff. Right? A lot. However, the real wealth that we create in Empower is and is going to be in lifting you up. It's taking you and lifting you up. It's helping you create the results that you want and get better results than you ever have in your life. Okay? And to hit our goals in 2013, we actually have to figure out a way to do that better, quicker, and faster, even though we're already doing a pretty great job. So with that being said, Chris Reckard, great to have you on. I know you kind of snuck in here, and I didn't even introduce you or say anything. But how was your Christmas and New Year's, bud?
It was good. It's great to see all you guys. I actually took a pretty good vacation. I took the last couple weeks off completely, so that's been awesome. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, man. Hold on, I'm just sending my wife a message here. I'm going to get her to pop on here, too, in a
Chris
sec.
Reckard is the master of just taking time off and making lots of money and looking cool while he does it.
Yeah, I haven't had I've been an entrepreneur for many years. I haven't really had a decent vacation yet. So this is my first kind of real vacation, and I just enjoyed it. Just time with family, time with my kids, time with my wife, just both my parents are divorced and her parents are divorced, so we had 4 Christmases. So that was quite the juggle there, but just loved it. Just really had a good time. So that's how we spent our time. And yeah, I woke up first day of the month. I went back and looked at how much money I'd made in Empower part time, and it was $41,000 for the month of December. So I'll take that. That worked out for me.
40,000. Now this is. I want to talk about something here for a sec. Now, you've been doing online stuff for a long time, and hey, Ash, if you're still watching, I'll figure it out here in a sec. I'll turn this over to Dave, and then I'll go dig up your stuff and then figure out a way to invite you on. What's interesting is the array of people that we've got. Like, if you listen to Chris, he did 41,000 in December, part-time. He took a vacation for a lot of the month. And in the month that's Christmas that he took a vacation that direct sales is supposed to go down, not up, he made $41,000 part-time, right? And I've been around network marketing for 10 years, okay, 10 years. And the only place that I've seen people make that kind of money part-time ever is Empower Network. And I don't know if, Tony, you've been around for a long time. Is that your experience too? I mean, I've heard people say it, but never, when you get to know them, you know what I mean? Not really, But you ever see anything like that?
No, that's not normal, man.
No, it's not normal. I mean, now you're super efficient, Chris. I mean, you get like 4 hours of a normal person's work done in an hour, and you teach people how to do that in the 15K webinars that you did. Yeah. But still, you're part-time. You're not this like 18-hour guy. 18-hour a day guy here. 18 hours a day maybe at your job, but not here. And then you've got a family and you've got a couple of kids. So I just want to say, first of all, it's incredible. And I love the little unconscious plug in the background. Just take massive action. If you're on the webinar, take massive action and join. If you're not in, I just want to kind of plug that there. Take massive action and join. I actually hear Chris say "take massive action" just in the middle of his sentences. More than I've about heard anybody plug something before. So I just think that's badass, brother.
Yeah.
So guys, let's get into this. Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dave Sharp, real quick. You want to lead the conversation just because I'm going to actually see if I can invite my wife on here too to hang out. And she's on a different computer. And so I'm going to mute myself out here for a sec.
Yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, man. Guys, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I think it's useful to have. I think these hangouts are cool because it's more of an intimate environment to where we can be honest and we can really lay it on the. We can really, and we're actually probably more honest than anybody or anything that I've ever seen before. That's actually one department that we don't lack at. But I like these because I feel comfortable here to kind of talk to everyone in the way that I would talk to our leadership team. And there's people that's super, super valuable for people who are just getting started. Because a lot of times when you're just getting started, you're a little bit sheltered from the things that can benefit you, your income, and your business most. You're sheltered from that because most company owners want you to go out and get 2 or 3 people because the statistics show, and I'm just, again, if I can just be completely transparent with everybody and just have a super mature leadership conversation, I think it really benefit you guys, especially those of you who are just getting started and those of you who are really looking to find your groove inside this industry, which, by the way, is always going to be the majority of your team. It's always going to be the majority of people in your event. It's always going to be the majority of the people who are doing anything are going to be people who are just getting started or people who are trying to find their groove inside of their business, obviously. But one thing that is the difference between the pick up and do anything you want anytime you want money and the money that people are just making out there that is kind of supplementing their income is the difference between building a business for you and building a business for other people in a team with a vision. And I learned this, and I talked about this and alluded to this a little bit on the Monday Night Call. But really, how I learned this lesson, I want to reiterate this a little bit because I think this is super valuable for those of you who are just getting involved inside the industry. Is that when I got clean, I was all excited about life. I was all excited about my new life. Hi, Ash. How's it going, hon? I was all excited about my life, and I was all excited about my future because for the first time in a long time, I had started to feel things again. I'd started to kind of go out there and feel human again, really, because. And the reason why I talk about this a lot is mostly so people coming in can identify and realize that they're in a place to where they can be open about who they are, where they've been, and where they want to go, and they can feel comfortable no matter what they've done and where they've been inside their life. But somebody sat me down, and they said, Dave, staying clean for you and doing this for you is only going to get you so far. But when you realize that going out there and helping other people, lifting other people up from the bottom, lifting other people up from the turmoil that they're going through, helping other people get from the situation that you were in just a few weeks or months ago to the place that you're going to be if you stick around in a year is the thing that's going to keep you around, right? And at that moment, that didn't really click for me. I didn't really understand that what was going to keep me coming back, what was going to keep me wanting to be involved in staying clean. My recovery was going to be that. The same thing has happened inside of my business. When I first got started, I wanted to just quit my job. I wanted to just stop getting up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and putting on construction boots and getting my tired butt into that old 1990 Ford F-150 that I drove around every day. And I wanted to just be able to stay at home, and I wanted to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, and I wanted to make enough money to not have to worry about it anymore. And that motivation and that idea, that goal got me so far. But what took us from and I assume that it took everybody on this call, all the leaders who are here and all the people who are doing 10, 20,000 or more out of this industry, what's taken our income up to 40, 50, 60, 70, 6 figures a month is starting to build and realizing that the real benefit of this business and what creates the big incomes is going back and doing it for a team. It's going back and doing it for a vision. We talk about this on the Monday night call. The difference between having a resolution, right, which is just kind of something that most people do for about 15 days until they get tired of doing it, and creating a vision for yourself is monumental. It's night and day, right? It's the difference between building this business just for you and for your payoff and building this business to help other people and have that feeling that you just can't get from anything else besides helping people. And having somebody come up to you at an event, or having somebody shoot you an email, or having somebody shoot you a Facebook message and say, Chris, Ashley, Dave, Tony, Tracy, whoever it is, what you said or what you did made a difference inside of my life. And I'll tell you, that's what keeps you coming back. That's what, when you get addicted to that feeling, is what takes you from $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month to $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month. I just met Chris Record 4 months ago or whatever. We didn't know each other from Adam before that. Tracy and Tony and of course Dave and Ash and everybody else, I knew them before that. But Chris came in and I saw that Chris built the same way that I built. It was an unsaid thing. We just didn't need to talk about it because I saw that what was keeping him coming back was the same thing that was keeping me coming back. Tracy, the same thing. I've seen it with Tony. I've definitely seen it with Dave because I've worked closer with Dave than anybody else. But now, of course, we're forming this mastermind. And, the interesting thing about Empower and what sets us apart from everything else is the fact that we are not here just for ourselves. We didn't start the company. The leaders didn't join just for themselves. They joined, and everybody got involved in Empower Network because they saw an opportunity to go out there and really help their people and give their people a community and an opportunity to really succeed for the first time. And I'm going to tell you something, the truth of the matter about this industry is it has been very difficult for a lot of people on our teams and us also to succeed before this. The funny thing is now people see kind of what we're doing. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to duplicate it. They're trying to replicate it. But the thing that they can't duplicate, the thing that they can't replicate is the vision, the feeling, the real reason behind what we're doing, and that we get things on a deeper level than what most people get. Most company owners start a company because they want to get rich themselves. And the interesting thing is that we didn't have a conversation about how we were going to make money ourselves until several months into the company, and we realized that the overhead was several $100,000 a month, and we said, this shit is expensive, right? And we were like, we need to figure out a way to bring in some company money to cover our expenses because Dave and I were paying that out of our affiliate income. Guys, I'm gonna pass the baton here to get other thoughts on that. I also had another thing that I was thinking today, and that was, Tony, just on a side note, I thought this was hilarious. I was watching your Atlanta speech, man, and I got to tell you that was one of the funniest speeches that I've ever watched in my entire life, dude. If you have not watched that speech, you've got to go back and watch that speech because Tony talks about probably one of the most important things that we deal with in this industry starting off as people usually with no money who look at people who have money and say just exactly what you guys were talking about at the beginning of the conversation. I would never do that. I don't know if you remember this or not, Tony, but something that you said there was an example of how you were sitting at a light or somebody was sitting at a light in their beat-up car and somebody pulled up in a Mercedes and you were like, how many people has that guy probably ripped off to be able to afford that Mercedes? What a scumbag. I would never do that. I'm totally good with my clunker because I've got my values. Guys, the difference between working here and the difference between working anywhere else that I've ever worked with a group of people before is that we think differently. And I'll tell you, you ever met somebody that just gets it? You ever met a group of people who just get it? Guys, this is that group of people who just gets it. And I'll tell you, just even the people who are sitting on this call right now, they come from all different walks of life, different races, different religious backgrounds and beliefs and value systems and all this different kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what brings us together, guys, is that we're in this for our teams, and we're in this to help people, and we've got a unified vision. And I'm going to tell you something, that if you ain't in this, and it's only $25 freaking to get started, you ought to slap yourself, honestly, walk away from the computer, go get your credit card, come back, and see if you feel a little bit better, check your pulse, make sure you're still alive, and ask yourself, why in the hell am I not in this deal, and why am I not working with these people? Because the truth of the matter is, it's just different. And you know, when you get involved in something and you just feel it, you just know it's in the air, you know you're in the right place at the right time, not because somebody says something or somebody did something, because you just have that feeling. Well, guys, we've got that feeling. And those of you who are in Empower who haven't got your tickets yet to Austin, you're going to get them now, and you're going to witness what that feeling actually looks like in person. Because, guys, this is not a company anymore. This is not a group of people anymore. This is a damn revolution. This is a damn revolution. This is what a revolution looks like, guys. This is what it looks like. And we're going to be talking about this years down the road, looking back, saying, do you remember when the entire internet marketing landscape changed? Do you remember when the turning point was, when the tipping point was? And we're going to look back at the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, and this is going to be a defining moment in the industry, and a defining moment in the direct sales industry. And guys, you have the opportunity to be a part of that revolution. A lot of people throw around those phrases, once in a lifetime opportunity. Guys, most of the time it's a bunch of bullshit. This is a once in a freaking lifetime opportunity to be a part of a damn revolution, guys. And this is basically your cordial invitation to join us. So if you ain't in, click the button below this video and get in. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. We're going to be doing some special stuff for people who are all in at the event in Austin. You want to be all in for lots of reasons, and I'll let some of these other guys talk about some of those reasons. I just got the feeling I'm pumped up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've done a lot of thinking here lately about how big this really is getting in it. And I'm not just talking about from a commission standpoint or anything like that. I'm talking about just the vision and where we're really going, guys. Let us help you create a vision for yourself, man. Let us help you really release your inner badass, and that has a much deeper meaning than just being a cool phrase. Everybody's got a badass that's waiting to be uncaged inside of them. And I'll tell you what, when you get around a group of people who can help you uncage that badass, the world opens up to you, man. So anyways, I'll pass it over to Tony or Dave or Tracy.
Here, let me jump out here real quick, Dave, and what I want to do two things here real fast, okay? But let me just set the tone, if we can, for just the rest of this conversation, okay? You guys have heard a lot and you've seen a lot from everybody on here, hopefully, and if you haven't, you're like, who the heck are these guys? It's actually really funny with these hangouts, because people find them on YouTube, because so many people watch our hangouts, they get ranked in YouTube, and then people just kind of find them. And there's always like 5 people that pop in the comments and they say, what the hell is this? Things like that, you know what I'm saying? So if you're just seeing this, okay, real quick, just a couple things just off the bat. Number one, if you're on this page right now, okay, and you're not in, get in. But what I want to say is I want to say a few things just right now that you can do with us in 2013. I'm going to talk to you about what you need to do very briefly. I'm just going to mention them, and then we're going to kind of mention them as we go through the call. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to kind of pick the brain for insights on how the people on this live stream do what we do, starting with Tracy and then Tony, because I know, Tony, you've got to take off here in 20 or 30 minutes, and then going through Dave. I'm going to pick your brain a little bit too, because I actually, don't pick your brain so much on calls. Usually it's just you talking and speaking. Chris, I'll pick your brain. Chris, if you've got to go at one point or another, let me know. Ash, I'm going to pick your brain too. But here's the things that you guys need to do just straight up if you want to run with us in 2013. I mentioned a lot of them on the call that we had on Monday night. Okay, we are meeting together. Number one, you've got to just get in. You've got to get in. Look, if you ain't in Power Network yet, if you've seen it before and you're not in yet, it's time. Okay, it's time for you. It's time to get started. It's your time. This year is going to have such big movement and so much movement, and you're going to know that whether you're in it or not, and you're going to know it in a year. You got to get in. And the main reason why you got to get in right now, I'm going to tell you something, is because you need to be at our event in Austin. Okay, and you're not going to be able to get in that event if you ain't in. We do not let non-Empower Network members at our events. Our events are not pitch fests. okay? They're not there to lock you in a corner and to get you to buy tons of stuff that are completely unrelated and it's going to overwhelm you. Our events are there to take the proprietary knowledge that we have that's helped us do more sales our first year than any affiliate marketing company in history, okay? And it's taking that information and that knowledge as a team and kind of infusing it into you in a way that can help you leave that conference and make the money that you want in 2013. Our goal from that event is simple. I want 30 people who are on this video right now who are watching this. I want 30 of you to make $1 million in 2013. I want 100 of you to make at least $360,000. Now that's my personal goal as an income disclosure. Not everybody here is going to make that kind of money. Not everybody who goes to Austin is going to make that kind of money, but everybody who does make that kind of money with us in 2013, absolutely without question, will be in Austin, Texas. It's just the way it is. You need to get in. You need to be in Austin. Number 3, you need to get all in with us. You need to get all in. What does that mean? In Power Network, it means number 1, being committed, and number 2, deciding to buy all the products, and number 3, actually buying all the products. All right, and following through. You need to get all in, and there's a lot of reasons for that. We'll cover some of them as we go through the call, but you just need to do it. For example, if you don't have the 15K formula tomorrow night, Rashkin is doing a webinar tomorrow night on following up on, Tony, what you covered last week on conversions. If you guys thought Tony's thing on conversions was badass, just feel free to just pop, yeah, I thought that was badass in the comments, guys. This has been the most valuable series that we've ever put together as a webinar series. You need the 15K formula. It's only $1,000. And this week, we've got Aaron Rashkin, who's been $1 million a year earner for years on the internet, guys. Years. And he's going to be talking about following up, closing, and upselling through email, upselling through phone calls. If you want to do phone calls for upselling, he's going to be teaching you how he does that. And this is literally $1 million proprietary secrets that he usually only teaches people in private gatherings in his home. And he's going to be teaching you guys tomorrow night on a webinar. In fact, I chatted with him on the email earlier, and he said, Dave, I'll be well prepared for that. Get people on it. So guys, get on the webinar tomorrow night. You got to be a 15K formula member. That's just an example of what you're going to get if you be all in. We're going to talk about that as we go through. You got to get all in. You got to make a commitment. You got to get to Austin, Texas. Okay, and then here's the last thing that I'm going to encourage everybody here to do, and then we're just going to open it up for roundtable. Okay, on a very specific subject, and that's picking everybody's brain on 2013. Last thing that you've got to do, guys, is you've got to take massive action, as Chris Record likes to say. I'm just going to steal that from him. You know what I'm saying? Just steal it. You got to take massive action, okay? And you've got to be absolutely focused and consistent in 2013. You've got to be absolutely focused and consistent in 2013. Absolutely focused and consistent, okay? Now, I'm going to liken it to this, okay? I'm going to liken it to this, okay? One time I went through a course on goal setting. And the way that it described accomplishing goals was actually pretty profound, right? It said, here's where you are, and here's where you want to be, right? So you've got this goal, this image of what you want to accomplish in 2013. And hopefully it's as big as you deserve. And if it's not, we're going to encourage you to stretch it. If you go to Austin, Texas, I'll tell you one thing that's going to happen. What's going to happen if you go to Austin, Texas, okay? If you go to Austin, Texas, okay, your goal, your vision is going to get bigger, and you're going to have the tools to accomplish it. But you've got you over here, and you've got your goal over here. Now, what's the fastest way to get to your goal? Right? Well, it's obvious if you just look at here's where you are, here's where you want to be. Straight line, right? Straight line. It's like a physics law or something, isn't it? You know what I mean? The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? Now, what do most people do, especially in this business? What do, Tony? This is what they do. They've got their goal, and they go like this. Right? Distracted by a product launch. Oh, I'm serious. Oh, wait, I'm distracted by another launch. Oh, I'm serious. Oh, wait, another new hot MLM deal. I'm jumping in this thing. Oh, wait, I'm serious. Oh, wait, there's this new thing. It pays 8% on the 15th level. Oh, I'm serious. Oh, I've got this other thing. Oh, Dave, I was going to blog every day, but then I saw this webinar that, I'm going to hold the crystal and pray instead. Okay. And they never hit it. They just go around in like a figure eight, running around in loops. Okay. So what's the straight line? What's the straight line? Okay. Here's the straight line. Is number 1, get in. Number 2, get all in. Number 3, get to Austin, Texas. Number 4, right, decide that you're going to be committed like a laser on one vision until you accomplish it. Look, you accomplish that vision, feel free to focus on whatever you want, right? But if you have not accomplished your vision, absolutely you must be unbreakable in your focus until you have. So this is the focus. Get to the event, 2 sales a day in the 8 core steps. That's the focus, okay? You must focus on that with us. Now, doing that is going to mean a few things. Number one thing that it's going to mean is it's going to mean you're going to have to eliminate distractions. You're going to have to carve out time. Look, Chris Record talks about being able to put this into an hour or 2 a day. Empower Network is the only thing I've legitimately had people make $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000 a month who are actually part-time in, okay? Other people have talked about it, and they're all liars. Not on purpose, but they believe in something that's not happening in their organization. At Empower Network, it has actually been happening. It's been happening since we launched, okay, where people have made significant amounts of money part-time, okay? But he still takes an hour or 2 a day, and he carves it out. And when he's got that hour, I promise you, he ain't doing anything else. See, the magic and focus, and I'm going to pick his brain especially on this because he's probably the most organized out of the bunch out here. The thing about focus, guys, is number one, you focus on what you want only, and number two, you've got to eliminate distractions for that period of time. You've got to set it aside to do it, right? And to focus on the message that we say. That's going to be the message. That's going to be the focus. That's going to be how you're going to accomplish your vision this year. So that being said, let's go over to the amazing, incredible Tracy Walker. First of all, Tracy, I appreciate you for a lot of reasons. You know, we've known each other for years. You were like a blogging queen, and you know, I started blogging because I was poor. You know, I mean, I don't think you were like as poor as me when you started.
I started blogging because I was poor too.
Oh, you did? Okay, so it's like you know, you start because you're poor, and then after a while, you're like, hey, this is working better than what everybody else is doing, right? It's kind of cool. You've been succeeding for a long time. I think this year is probably the easiest, the biggest, the fastest, with the less stress, because there's a vehicle here for us. But you have, you know, and I want by the way, everybody, she's doing the 15K webinar. We're having Rashkin on this week, and then Tracy's going to be on the next week talking about team building. And what I wanted to do real quick, Tracy, is I want to pick your brain about philosophies and then tactics, okay? Starting with your philosophies. There's a difference between you and a lot of the other people that I've seen. You've got a charisma. I know a lot of people would think that that's natural, but I know charisma is developed by being consistent over a period of time. You've also been very consistent for years, okay? But what are some of the philosophies and the beliefs, okay, that you've got that are very important to you, okay, that have helped you to create the results that you create in your business?
Well, that's a great question. One of the core philosophies that I have is, and I share this as many times as I can with people inside of Empower and other places too, is that you can't chase 2 rabbits at the same time and expect to catch one. I live and die by that philosophy. You're going to have to, at some point, choose the rabbit you're going to go after, because you'll end up down the middle and losing both. And once I decided to plant my flag at Empower, even to this day, as people send, join my program, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I had a guy send me an inbox message today and told me I could fill out this penny matrix thing and I could be making $19,760 a month. And I said, why? I make double that now. Why would I take a decrease in pay to get in your penny matrix? And you cannot chase 2 rabbits at the same time and expect to catch one. And I think that goes back to the focus. And it goes back to, I shared a story the other day about pretty much a radio signal. When you tune into a station and you want to hear, let's say, country music, and it sounds kind of fuzzy, you have to keep tuning that dial a little bit until that particular station becomes crystal clear. And when it is clear, the only reason it's clear is because there is a strong signal that is reaching between that tower and that station. It's not a weak signal, and the signal has to be so strong and so direct that it sounds crystal clear to you as a listener. And that's how we have to be in our businesses. If we're going to build Empower Network, then everyone who looks at you, everyone who sees you, everyone who reads about you, they should know from a fundamental level that you are core and you are diehard focused on that thing. Your focus is so solid that it is literally nothing they could do to pry you away. And sometimes people get mad. Sometimes people, you know, I saw a post somebody had the other day, and they were challenging, I think it was Adrian Hines, his post, and he was saying how you know, guys, please stop sending me stuff about other programs. This is what I'm doing. And somebody responded and said, well, since you're doing well at Empower, that means now that you're closed off to other opportunities. And I responded back and I said, well, I don't think that he's closed off to other opportunities. I think that it's exactly what you just said, Dave. It's until you reach the goal that you planned to reach with this thing, then and only then should you try to divert and do something else. 8-figure earners have said to me over and over and over again that they did not become the top earners in their company by trying to build 2 and 3 things at the exact same time. It's one thing gets built and then you diversify if you want. I will say from a team building perspective, the way that we run our team, there's just absolutely no way that I could physically run our team and be effective at it and help people and people feel there's a community if I were trying to do it in 3 different companies at the same time. I would go crazy. My team would be all over the place. I wouldn't be able to keep up with this web stream, with another live cast, with this comp plan and who's switching in this company event. And it's just impossible. So for me, that core fundamental aspect and philosophy of, focus on one thing, get to where you want to get to with that one thing, and then add more or reduce whatever you want to do. Another big thing that is extremely important to me is consistency. I mean, you said that about me for quite some time, and that's the reality of it. The formula in Power Network is very simple. It's get all in. Okay, certain things have to be in place financially, position-wise. You have to have all the products. Why? Because you position yourself to earn the commissions in the way they're supposed to be earned. When you're missing a product and you now allow that product to be passed up, you're taking yourself out of the formula and the equation to earning $1,000 a day or whatever it is that you're looking to do. So number one, be all in. You have to financially be positioned. And then number 2 is get 2 sales a day. I mean, the first time that you said that, I thought that it's got to be more than that. It's got to be more than that. In fact, you said that, and that was prior to us having the 15K per month formula to begin with. We didn't know what the formula was at the beginning because there needed to be a 90-day leeway time for you and Dave to go in and assess, well, what are the top people doing? What do they have in common? So during that period of time, what we realized is that almost everyone was getting at least 1 sale a day. At least 1 sale a day over a 90-day period of time led to a particular result, adding the fact that people were all in. And once you get in the habit of doing something that actually works over and over and over and over and over again, the results compound themselves where you can really do less work because of the leverage that we have here at Empower, and you can start receiving $1,500 a day pass-ups, which can be greater than the pass-ups I'm sending to you and Dave. So if I'm receiving more pass-ups than I'm giving out, and I can go on vacation for 2 weeks like Chris Record, well, that's just a function of being consistent for 90 days, 120 days, or whatever at the fundamental, being all in and getting 2 sales a day. So I don't think that there's any magic, and we say that over and over and over again, and I'm not doing anything super special. I don't have any powers like Tony. Right? Tony really does. I'm convinced. I don't know. I have no clue what the hell Tony's over there doing. I'm studying him like white on rice all the time because I'm like, I'm just convinced Tony's lying to me. He is. And as much as I love Jessica, she's lying to me too. I know. And I said, well, I've just got to figure it out. But in the meantime, while I'm studying all this stuff, I better get my 2 sales a day. So I think those 2 things for me, the focus and the consistency, and actually having a formula that you guys have provided for us that works. I don't really think you need to run around in circles doing anything other than, like you said, Dave, going to using that straight line to get from where you are to where you want to be.
Well, a couple things I want to point out here and talk about, and then I got a couple other quick questions for you. Hey, Tony, when do you have to go?
You know what, man? I'm catching a flight in the morning, so I'm kind of pre-packed. I'm good. I'm good for another half hour, 40 minutes. Okay.
I want to finish up on this here. So a couple things I wanted to point out is number 2, look at 2 people in a row making a lot of money, mention and being focused. Okay? You have, here's the best way I've actually heard it said, Tracy, and I thought this was actually pretty profound. It was a long time ago. It's actually in Amway, but it was from a guy who, he'd been making like $1.5 million a year in that company for like 10 years. Just a big producer. And really respect him a lot. And what he said is, that look, I want to explain this to you guys in a way that you can understand, okay? We're all born with, we all got a certain amount of energy in life, okay? Now, most of the time, somebody doesn't really have dramatically more energy than somebody else. Sometimes there's a weirdo out there. They seem to, right? He says, but most of the time, the difference is that one person over here, their energy is all over the place, and the person who appears to have 10 times more energy, their energy is focused on one thing. And here's why. Is because you only have a certain amount of creative energy. You only have a certain amount. And when it's gone, it's gone. And there's nothing left. There's nothing, right? So when you've got a vision and you've got a dream, you've got limited energy and limited power to reach and accomplish that dream and your mission. And if you're all over the place, you can't, because the resources are not available to you that would be available to you. So 2 people in a row, both talking about focusing, 2 people in a row. Now let me talk about this 2 sales a day thing, because we talk about it all the time, but I want to explain to everybody here why this is important, okay? And what it'll do for you if you do it. Okay, then I've got some tactical stuff for you, Tracy, I want to ask on, but I just want to talk about this. Why is this important, and why do you need to do it? Okay? Number one reason it's important is because this is what we're saying. Okay? So if we're saying this at the top, it's like what happens as you go through life is you'll notice that certain people have varying levels of power and authority and influence. All right? I didn't start off as a person of influence. It took me a long time to gain influence and to figure out how to get influence. It took me a long time to learn the skill behind that. But what happens is that there's something that I call the power triangle. Okay? Now, if you just imagine there's like this triangle, and I'm in no way referencing a pyramid, right? But what happens is that every aspect of life has this power triangle, okay? Everything in life, it's structured like this, okay? Where you've got something of great authority and power that's respected, all right? For example, Empower Network has a certain level of power and influence in the world, okay? The President of the United States has a certain level of power and influence in the world, right? Well, you've got the power and the influence of the person or the entity that's greater than yourself, okay? And then you've got a person over here that you're trying to influence, and then you've got you, okay, over here, right? Now what happens is a lot of the times the people, you're going out there and you're trying to just like create something from zero, and you're saying, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me to your people, right? Here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm doing. No, don't listen to that, here's what I'm doing. Well, if you've already got power and influence, that works, right? I mean, if you've got power and influence, that works. You can pull people, all right? However, if you don't have a lot of power and influence, it doesn't work, okay? Because people will say, why? It's the whole "a prophet is not a prophet in his own hometown" thing. People won't listen to you if they perceive you as being exactly the same as them, right? And so you've got this entity with power over your people who are here. And you've got yourself, and you have very little power over your people when you begin and you start, right? So how do you close that gap? Well, you close that gap. This is the fastest way, and this is the most useful model I've ever come up with. And I've used this to advance my influence in life by thousands and hundreds of thousands of times over the last few years. Okay, this is what you do. You've got this entity with power, and what you do is you simply edify what that is, right? By learning how to walk within that power and influence that they've got. Because this is what happens when you do. Okay, when you actually do what they're saying to do, and this is wherever you're trying to get power in life, what happens is that they edify you back and give you more power. Okay? And in the meantime, you can use that power and influence that they have to influence your prospects, right? Or your list, or the people you're trying to influence, or whatever it is, right? But then what happens is they see you following the formula in the power triangle, and then they turn around and they give you more edification and power and authority, which then what it does is it just transfers the power and the ability to you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a much more efficient model of gaining power and influence than what most people try to do, which is be alone solo, right? So number one, we're saying get 2 sales a day. So if we're saying that, you're saying no, do this, well then you're contradicting the power triangle, and people will listen to you, then they'll listen to us, and we have more money and more power, and they'll just start ignoring everything you say. Right? So that's the number reason it's important. But why did we come up with it, which is the actual reason it's important outside the power triangle? Here's why we came up with it. We came up with it because in order to have massive success, now I'm not talking about 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, I'm talking about be able to create the unlimited results. You've got to become scarce in your ability to spend time with people. Okay? And it can't be constructed, it has to be real. Okay, you can only pretend to have so much posture. You know what I'm saying? Like Tony, and it was always the message. In network marketing, it's like you got to have posture. You know what I'm saying? And then they teach you the formula for acting strong. I mean, it's like Tracy. You're a pretty gal. My wife could attest to this too. I mean, a guy walks up to you and he pretends he's a confident man. I mean, you just see right through it. You know what I'm saying? And so you can only pretend so much. You have to actually become scarce. Well, how do you become scarce? You have so many people you're working with that all want your time that you just can't possibly spend it with all of them. So because you actually can't, you don't. And you start limiting it based on what the steps that they have to take to get around you. Well, what that does is it creates kind of like an air of mystery and power in your life that can't exist if you don't have that. So how do you do that? Well, I'll tell you how to do it. The easiest, fastest way. Get 2 sales a day. It'll happen in about 2 months. Okay?
Right.
2 months. Why? Because everybody will want your time. Number one. Number two, you won't be able to spend time with them. So you'll have to give them qualifications to get close to you. Right? For example, hey, you can't get close to me because you're not all in. I notice you don't have that, so why don't you go get all in, and then I'll have a conversation with you. I'm busy. I've got too many people I'm working with. Right? There's my qualification for working with me. You can make qualifications to get into your circle, okay, if you get 2 sales a day, and you can do it like this, and it's real, it's authentic, and it's the difference between faking that you're a confident man and actually being one, right, or a confident woman or whatever, right? So that's the number 2 thing, is it gives you power and authority. But here's the number 3 thing, and this is really important, guys, is because it's a proven model that will increase your income dramatic and fast, okay? And when you're gaining power and influence and authority, and you're becoming more scarce in your time, okay, I'll tell you, there's no better way to influence people than to have a growth curve in your life that goes like this. And what's the easiest way to do that? Well, you get 2 sales a day. I'm telling you guys, if you ain't ever done that before and all you got to do is focus on it, you will never have experienced a speed of growth in your income as fast and as dramatic as just by doing that. Okay? And the next thing is, and this is also important, and then I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to stop rambling so much. Here's the last thing that's important about it. Okay, the last thing that's important about it. When we're looking at about our model, but this also is true for all network marketing. You guys take this and apply it for everybody. But I just encourage you to join. Just join, right? What I encourage you guys to realize is that what's going to happen is production goes in spikes in this business, in direct sales. It's what happens, right? So a lot of times people experience a thing where they go out there, they create all this success and results, they go create all this production, and their income goes to $10,000 a month, and then they're like, and it just drops to $1,500 a month, right? And ever happened to any of us? You know what I'm saying? That's not making that up. It's because it does, right? So what happens when somebody's income is growing up? Here's what tends to happen. When somebody's income is increasing on the increase, they tend to be focused on production only. Okay? When somebody's income is declining, what are they focused on? Well, what they're focused on is they're focused on helping everybody and running around helping everybody and being super available to everybody, right? It tends to be what happens, right? So they go through and they're like, and then, I'm going to help everybody. And then their income goes to $1,500 a month. They get discouraged, they quit, or they get really frustrated, or then they spike, goes back to $10,000 a month, then it drops off. Right? It happens all the time. So what's a way to avoid this? Well, it takes 3 months to stabilize at any new income level, right? And I would prefer that income naturally increase through that progression. So in other words, if you make $30,000 this month, your income won't stabilize at $30,000 a month for at least 90 days. Why? Because there's promotional income in there. There's volume bonuses. There's new people getting started who are in their 2, 4, 6 pass-ups before they get to the every 5th. There's upsells that are happening, right? So you're going to have a promotional volume sequence that's going to run like this if you bring a lot of people in. And if you stop bringing the people in, it's going to be a 90-day cycle for the growth from your team's success to catch up, right, with what you were creating through production. However, if you just keep getting 2 sales a day, that doesn't happen. So what happens is you can go to a new income level, and as your team's growing enough to the duplication to catch up and to be passing up sales to you to stabilize your income can also double from adding new income, right? There's a lot of thought that went into that. It's not just some arbitrary thing, okay, that we invented out of thin air. There's a lot of thought that went into it to be able to help you guys create an income that lasts as you're growing in your business and stabilizing, right? So anyways, that's my 2 cents. Okay, tactical. Tracy. what are the specific? Let's just go one or two. Actually, let's just do one for now. What's the single most important skill that you've learned? Maybe in Empower, maybe before Empower, that is more responsible for the success that you create for specifically getting new members in every day, right? Because we'll focus on that metric for a minute. What's the most important skill that you've learned that adds to being able to create those results consistently all the time, in your opinion?
The most important skill. I've learned how to not talk to people. I mean, it doesn't sound like that's a skill, but it really is, because we're trained in this industry to talk to people. There's prospecting CDs. I have my own set of prospecting CDs that I created. There's closing CDs. There's all these types of CDs, and teaching you how to convert, and teaching you how to handle objections, and teaching you all the things you need in order to get someone to join. And essentially what we're able to do here is do less of that talking, and income go up, and a number of enrollees go up. So I've had to untrain myself to talk to the point of exhaustion, trying to get someone to understand how this pay plan makes sense, or how this blogging platform makes sense, or how you need to have this training. I pretty much wrote a blog post about Empower Network back in, I don't know, sometime last year. And no matter what questions someone asks me, I know it's usually in that post. I just tell them, great, to go get more details, review this information, contact me when you're done. And my skill has become copying and pasting that blog link so that people go get the information. I say less, and people join. And I don't have a theory or a scientific explanation. I mean, Dave, you're the genius here. You probably would know why that works. I don't know why it works. You say that's how it works. I went along with it. I talk to less people. I focus on my 2 a day. And, I don't know, maybe through the environment of the team and people also following suit, that kind of helps. But my skill, unlearning how to talk to people every day about Empower.
Okay, so this is interesting, coming from a leader. Now, here's the funny thing. We'll go to Tony. We could talk about this too with him. I've seen this be very consistent now, guys. Now, when last thing I want to mention here, and we can move on to Tony, just because otherwise we'll be on here for 18 hours, and we're only going to be on here for like 8, okay, for everybody on. So it's not 18, only 8 hours. But the reason I want to talk about this is I was actually just in Colombia hanging out with Justin Varengia, and it was the same thing for him. I told him, I said, Justin, stop talking to people. Right? I just like cut it out, man. And he was like, it's like you ever shine a light at a dog, and it's like, that confused dog look, you know what I mean? Turns his head to the side. It's like, what are you doing? Because it was like you're taking the world and tearing it open. Okay. Let me actually explain from my perspective now. I might have a better explanation a year why this is powerful. Okay, keeping in mind what we were just talking about, the power triangle, moving up in power and authority and influence in your life. Okay, I want everybody here to think about this here for a minute from a psychological perspective and from a creativity perspective. Okay, so let's go back to the creativity thing. You've got this much energy, right? Now let's say it's this much, right? And everybody's got this much. Well, if it's all over the place, it feels like you have no energy all the time. Whereas if your energy's on one thing, everybody around you says, God, man, how do you get that motivation? Well, it's like, because I don't have the TV on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not reading the newspaper. I found out there was a fiscal cliff like 3 days ago, and I was like, well, I hope they solve it. It's like I'm not, and it was from I think something on Tony Rush's wall. It's fiscal what, right? I remember I was when I was in Amway, I used to wander around in malls. Now, guys, I'm not saying to wander around in malls. Please don't do that. But let me give you an example of this is the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. Because I just changed my strategy. I never gave up on the same dream that I have in Amway. It just got bigger, right? I never gave up on that original dream ever, right? And had I known then what I know now, I probably would have succeeded in that at a massive level, right? I was in a mall. I think it was Walmart, right? And I was getting really adept at just starting conversations with everybody around me because I had to do it to find enough context to try to show the plan to them. And I had this like little shoebox full of names and business cards and phone numbers, and I was spending my lunch at work calling people to set appointments for the night to go show them the plan. It's kind of like and then if there was nobody to show the plan to, I wandered around and hit up more people, right? So I'd go buy something cheap in like a Walmart and then talk to everybody in line, right? I was just I did this stuff for years, right? So, but I was there and I was talking to somebody and they they mentioned something and they're like, oh, do you see what do you think about the game last night? And I said, what game? And like 4 people turned around because it was like the Super Bowl, right? And I didn't know. Right? Because you've got to focus, guys. To focus, you've got to eliminate. And it's okay because a lot of the stuff, that we love, it's important to stay healthy, okay? A lot of times, on the internet, we get so involved with being on the computer and being on the internet and sitting there that we forget to stretch or go running or go outside and get sun or things like that. Especially when you're new, you forget to do that stuff. So it's important to have balance enough to where you can stay healthy, to where you can focus. The reality is, though, if you've got a dream and it's over here and you're here, you take all that energy you got, put it into the difference between a laser and a flashlight is? Well, laser is the same 100 miles away if there's nothing in between it and where it's shining. The difference is all the energy is focused into one point. Okay? All the energy is focused into one point. And you've got to focus. To do that, you've got to eliminate the things that are stealing your light. And there's a lot of them out there. Just 2 cents. So Tracy, appreciate you. Let's go to Tony. Everybody just give Tracy a hand. Give Tracy a hand. It's fun.
I was showing Ashley, these are the Empower weights that she gave me on stage in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love you, Ash. Tony, because I know he's got to catch up. Where are you going, by the way? Where are you headed for your flight?
I'm going to Music City, Nashville, Tennessee.
Ah, okay. What for? What's out there?
You know what? I got a buddy of mine that's a session player. He's a studio musician, and I hadn't seen him in 20 years, and he said, hey, man, you ought to come up and watch a session. And I haven't been in a studio in a long time, so I'm just going up to get out of town for 2 or 3 days and watch some guys play music.
Isn't it cool to just be able to pick up and go to another city to watch some music?
Yeah, it really is.
It's super abnormal. Just hearing you say that, and you're not stressed about it. It's not like a major deal. You're just going to I'm just popping on a plane. Are you flying first class? I'm actually curious.
Yeah.
Just to go listen to some music.
Yeah.
No purpose. You don't. It's not something you've been planning forever.
Tony's actually being humble right now. He's like a music god. Actually, what instrument do you play?
I used to play piano. I just play here at home now.
That's awesome, dude. Dude, yeah. I kind of want. I might go hang out with you. Okay, so let's go back. Same thing, okay. Like everybody else here, you have very different philosophies than just the general world tends to have. Guys, and a lot of this stuff, I want you guys to listen just for a second here on this, okay? A lot of times when you've got a philosophy that's screwing you up, you don't have it on purpose. We're not saying you're screw. It's because you've got it and nobody's pointed it out, and you've never become aware of what you should actually be there, and you've just absorbed it from all the broke people that have been in your life, or the people that are struggling that have been in your life. Like one thing, and just give you an example. I believe it's very, very easy to make $3,000 a day before I wake up. All right, that's not normal, right? However, a lot of people on the live stream, if you just got all in, if you just get in, get all in, and just focus, and if you just believed it was actually easy, literally believed it was easy, right? You would immediately start doing it, right? Like I talked to I talked to the other day, I'll mention him. I talked to Jordan Schultz the other day. I was chatting with Jordan. You know Jordan? Tony, you ever met him? Well, you know Jordan, right, Tracy?
Yeah.
I was talking to Jordan for whatever reason. I popped on because he's a leader and he's working, right? And I popped on the phone. And I said, Jordan, can I tell you something just straight up? And he says, yeah. And I said, Jordan, number one, getting 2 sales a day is easy, right? Number two, you're one gifted dude. You're gifted, man. You got a great heart. You know what I'm saying? You got an incredible heart. You've got a talent with people. I said, you're a gifted guy. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to promise you something. If you just believe that this is easy, and if you just decide today that the focus is not building funnels, the focus is not being the most branded guy, the focus is getting 2 sales a day, I can promise you something. That you'll be the day you believe that and act like that, it will begin to happen then. And you know what happened? 3 days in a row, about 2 sales a day from that conversation. So guys, a lot of you just need to believe it's easy. And if you can't believe 3,000 a day is easy, you got to at least believe 500 a day is easy, right? And to do that, maybe you need to go into the 15K formula. Anyways, Tony, that's a different philosophy, and it's just believing it's easy. Everybody wants to say, oh, it's tons of hard work. No, you might have to work hard, but that's not going to what's producing the sales. It's actually pretty easy to produce the sales. If we're working hard, usually it's because I'm trying to think of a new idea for everything. It's not because I'm working hard to maintain my sales. I'm trying to work hard to think of new things to make everybody more money, to make it even easier to get more sales. Yeah. Right? So anyways, go on back to you, Tony. Your philosophies that have helped you the most, right, to get the results that you get, which are extraordinary, right? What are they?
Well, what you just said there actually encapsulates part of it, because I think I don't want to give a knee-jerk answer to this because it's a really important question. This thing about believing, allowing things to be easy, I think is way more important than probably we really give it credit for. Because if you look around, nothing's easy. If you listen to the masses, nothing is easy. Because there's always this huge gallery of people who will, they'll talk your ear off about how hard everything is. It's hard to lose weight. It's hard to have a good marriage. It's hard to have good parenting with your kids. It's hard to make, God knows it's hard to make money. So if you spend your time listening to the and here's the unfortunate thing, is I think one of the biggest skills that we can have in the 21st century is discernment, knowing who to listen to and who to ignore. Because there's a lot more noise out there than there is intelligence, and the noisy people who are talking about how hard everything is, there's not only more of them, but they tend to talk louder, and so any given day, we can go to Facebook right now and find tons of people talking about the struggle of life, so I think one of the things that really assisted me a lot when I first got on this journey, because I did the grinding for years and years, was realizing that not everybody's opinion is worth having. Some people, there's a lot of people telling you how you should do things who absolutely have no business telling anybody how to do anything, and so it's interesting in this profession, in the home business industry or the internet marketing profession, you go to these forums, and you got the Warrior Forum and the MLM.com, and of course you got all these Facebook groups, and it's amateurs teaching amateurs how to be amateur. They'll tell you anything under the sun that they just got from the latest, greatest, hottest ebook that they bought for $17, from somebody you've never heard of, who's never had any significant results in any business ever. And yet they've set up shop as a, armchair guru trying to tell other people how to make money. And I got caught up in that for a long, long time, of being so desperate for instruction that I didn't bother asking the important question, is this person qualified to instruct me? And an analogy that we can all use and apply is like, you wouldn't ask your next door neighbor how to fly a plane, unless you're one of the rare people who actually live next door to a seasoned pilot. But I mean, like, if you want to know how to play golf, you talk to pro golfers. And if you want to learn how to fly an airplane, you go get instruction from people who've flown thousands of hours, and the list goes on and on and on. You don't go to obese people asking about weight loss tips. You don't go to somebody that's been divorced 18 times and ask them how to create a great marriage. And as obvious and as right under our nose as that sounds, this is not, there's so much information out there, I think, and this ties a little bit into what Tracy was saying a moment ago. It's the ability to ignore that actually creates a lot of power. Steve Jobs talked about this about a year before he passed away. He said, one of the reasons that Apple is the company it is today is because we are very good at saying no. we're very good at not letting ourselves get distracted with all the noise and all the minutia that's out there. People want us to make a new digital camera. They want us to get back into the business of printers. You know, they want Apple to do this and this, and Apple became what it was because of the ability to say no. So I think to some degree, well, to a large degree, one of the things that really assisted me greatly was stop taking financial advice from people who aren't living the way you want to live. That was a big deal for me, and I first heard that from a guy named Nick who lives in Hilton Head, South Carolina. He lived in $1 million home, and he bought the 2 lots on both sides of him so nobody could build there, which I just thought was funny. And I remember him saying, don't take financial advice from people who aren't living the way you want to live. So it became a question. You hear this all the time. And by the way, those of you who are watching the replay or you're watching this live, you know, you hear people say, you're going to become the average of the 6 people you spend your time around. If you've ever heard that, by the way, type in the box there. Yes, I've heard that. And by the way, you can already prove this to yourself, because if you look around, you probably drive about the same kind of car that all your friends drive. You know, if you're driving a Honda, they're driving a Ford Explorer, you know, or a Ford Focus or whatever. If you drive a Bentley, then your friends are probably driving Mercedes and BMWs. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong, but we tend to travel in packs. We laugh at the same jokes as our friends. We probably vote in elections pretty close to what our friends vote. And it's just a natural course of how human beings clump together. Well, you know, part of that is that when a gentleman named Keith Harding looked at me across the table in Plano, Texas, back in 1992, we were sitting at Mr. Wok's Chinese restaurant in Richardson, Texas, and he's a South African guy, and he says, Tony, I can tell you exactly, within $10,000, I can tell you exactly how much money you're going to make in the next 12 months. And I said, well, you got to tell me. And he handed me a pen and a napkin, and he said, here, write down the incomes of the 6 people you spend most of your time with. And I remember writing Bob Wood. Bob's unemployed. Okay. And then I wrote Lamar Atwood. Well, Lamar's got a job, but Lamar borrows money from me every other week. And then I wrote down Philip Hughes, and my buddy Philip, who I saw recently here at the holidays, he was unemployed. He was actually sleeping on Bob's couch. So I'm making a list of the people I know, and I'm like, I'm screwed. I am screwed. Look at who I hang around. Now, and I'm still friends with some of these people, but you've got to choose to deliberately say no to some noise, right? So like if you want to have great marriages, if you want to have a great marriage, you get around people who have magic with their spouse. If you want to have magic with your children, you deliberately find people that are living that way, and you get around them. And it's a beautiful thing, too, because you don't have to actually make a conscious study of them. If you just get around them, you'll pick up their word tracks. You'll pick up some ideas. You'll hear them talk about how so-and-so had a problem with their 14-year-old daughter, Sally, and you'll just pick up the vibe of how mom and dad use certain language tools or ideas to flip that whole situation around and just create a magical situation in that. And all of a sudden, by osmosis, just by being around it, you'll be a better parent. Well, it's the same way with money. It's probably more the same way with money, because money is just so easy to make. It's easy to make money. And it's easier to make money if you'll get around people who believe it's easy to make money. It's like if you spend all your time on Facebook with people who are whining and groaning about the price of gasoline or whatever, by definition, you are paying attention to people whose lives are hard. By definition, if you're listening to a whiner or a complainer, by definition, you're listening to someone for whom life is very difficult. I wouldn't take those people as your advisors. What you want to do is get around people who actually are regularly, authentically talking about how easy it is to put another win in the basket. How just one little idea caused their business to create this amazing upward spiral. You know, and whether it's about parenting or marriage or relationships or money, getting around the people that are living the way you want to live is the quickest shortcut. And that's what I did. And I had been in the habit of doing that for a while, but Empower Network was the biggest step up that ladder. It was the biggest step because for me, it represented a willingness to believe, and this is where I started from, allowing it to be easy. Because, see, I came here thinking that I knew I could make a lot of money because I'd made a lot of money before. So I didn't have any belief issues about making a lot of money. My belief issue, the obstacle that I had, the limiting beliefs that I had, was that making a lot of money required me to work hard. It required me to be on the phone a lot or to do something that was unpleasant to me. And it's just been an amazing experience to get around people like David Wood, David Sharp, Tracy Walker, Chris Record, excuse me, Ashley, different ones, Lawrence Tam, Chris Daugherty, Chuck Marshall. I mean, people who are living the way I wanted to live, people who that you'd get around them in a room and one of them to look at the other one and say, I tell you what, man, this working 2 and 3 hours a day has got to go. This working 2 or 3 hours a day is about to kill me. I've got to get down to about 30 or 45 minutes. That's the people you want to spend your time with. And the easiest way to do that here with Empower Network, is the products, the inner circle. Every single day you should be listening to some inner circle audios in the car or while you're driving or while you're washing dishes or loading the dishwasher or whatever. Get to Austin. The beautiful thing about these events is that they're not they're not velvet rope events. It's not like you're not allowed to mix and mingle with the people. I mean, it's an opportunity to actually get around people who are living the way you want to live, who are very generous with their time, who will actually say, hey, here's what's working for me. It's awesome. So, David, I'll go on and on, but I'm circling the airport now. If I come in for a landing now, I'm good. But I would say the chief philosophy is probably a little bit akin to what Tracy said, is learning to cut out the noise, learning what to ignore, and to make sure that I was only modeling the kind of behavior that created the kind of results that I wanted.
Well, let me point out a couple things about what you said, and then I'm going to ask one question on the tactics. And I actually want to jump over to Chris Record because I think that he's got to take off at one point or another earlier, and I think Dave could stay on maybe a little bit longer, and so can Ash. But a couple things I want to point out again. Here, you mentioning eliminating the distractions, which is what it's listening to people that don't know what they're talking about. Okay, Tony, if I did the same thing, if I listened to my family and friends now. I've actually got a really smart family, super smart. My dad is unbelievably intelligent. So is my grandpa. I mean, it's where my natural intelligence comes from. Is my dad, my grandpa, my mom. My mom was the valedictorian of her high school. My dad was the salutatorian of his high school. My dad went to Stanford and Cornell. He was a judge, right? Now I respect and I listen to my dad. Okay. And what having discernment is about is realizing where you should and shouldn't listen to people, okay? Where you should and shouldn't listen to people. There are people with great, unbelievable marriages that have no money, right?
Right.
So listen to them on the marriage, right, and not the money, right? You wanna listen for what do they have that you want. And this is kind of where you can take actually kind of a buffet style with life and just kind of take the best of everything that you want, right? Because, some people will hear some of the philosophies, Tony, you got on your wall, and they might be looking at that. Maybe they're like maybe they don't want to be like an agnostic or whatever, right? They want to be like a Christian, like, Chris Record, right? Well, Chris Record doesn't have to come because he's a great Christian guy in our organization, and he doesn't have to come and listen to our wonky philosophies about that. He can just take the financial philosophies, right?
Right.
And he can do that. And it's a similar thing, guys. You can take it. It's not about absorbing all the beliefs. It's about realizing that for some reason these specific sets of things have produced something extraordinary. There's very specific things that produce extraordinary results. One of them is believing making money is easy, right? And I'll give you another example of not listening to people. Now, I'm not going to mention I'm actually going to distort a little bit so people don't really know what I'm talking about. I just noticed somebody else out there tried to simplify what they're doing recently and came up with a list of steps that you need to do every day, right? And let's say they called them the top 20 things a leader does every day, right? Because we got our 8 things we talk about every day. Oh, and I said, that's interesting, and I read through the steps. They're not trying to be us, you know what I mean? So they're trying to be different. But here's what's interesting about the things that they actually mentioned is it would actually be impossible to maintain the steps that they tell people to do, right? They don't do them personally, right? I know that. They don't do them personally. If anybody did start doing them, they'd stop immediately because they wouldn't be able to continue doing them, right? And other than that, they're trying to make some steps and invent them out of thin air, right? Like this, the key is having commandments for people to follow. And it's interesting because, guys, what I want you to realize, I don't have wisdom in everything in life. I'm good at a few things that make me create extraordinary results. And outside of that, I'm kind of dumb, in a lot of areas. You know what I mean? I'm not organized. I'm messy constantly. Now that I've had maids, I don't even know how to clean anymore. So my area of expertise is very limited, but it's also very focused and concise, right? And also it's interesting, and I think this is a fascinating one, Tony, just on this. A lot of people, they look at our model, and I mention this all the time because people sometimes you mention it 8 times for people to get it. Sometimes people look at our model and they're jealous, right? Like they want to be who Dave Sharp and I are, right? Like they want to be these guys, not realizing that like it's way easier for Tony to make money in Empower Network than it is for Dave and I. Tony doesn't have $250,000 a month in overhead before he spends money on an event that costs $500,000 every 3 months. You know what I mean? It's just a different model that we're operating here, guys. So what we're good at, we're extremely good at. What we're not good at, we're not good at all. So what I got good at a while ago, Tony, was I realized like I was trying to be everybody forever. I was trying to be everybody and everything all the time, right? And I realized something. I realized all the things that made me a lot of money could be narrowed down into like 2 or 3 things, right? And everything else that I do, it doesn't make me any money. It just leads to never-ending frustration. Like I used to actually make sales pages, and I'd take the embed codes for my videos, and I'd put them in the HTML code of the sales page. I don't know if you've ever done this, Tony, and then I'd take the code for like a timed pop-up button, and I'd put the timed pop-up button code in there and like calculate the amount of seconds that it took, to the pop-up button need to appear, and then I'd take that and I'd upload it through like an FTP thing, to my website, and I was making like $45,000 a month, and I was doing this stuff, and it would take me 8 hours, where that would take like one of our coders that we've got now like 10 seconds. I mean, it's not hard to do, and so specializing in what's going to make you money and learning how, and here's what I learned, and this is kind of an abnormal thing that I've learned, but I've learned that whatever you start talking about, when you're focused on what you're good at, you can create a kind of influence where you just start talking about something and talking about it in a certain way, and it just starts happening through other people, right? What I learned is that I can take the things I'm not good at and just start talking about what we need, and these people will just show up. It's like magic, and they'll just start implementing and doing it. And my influence has grown by learning how to be very specific and get people around me that are better than me. So just focus, guys, on that. Focus on what you're good at. Focus on what makes you money. Tactical. Last question. What's the most important tactical thing that you've learned, maybe in Empower, maybe before, that's led to the amount of success that you have in your business for signing up 2 members a day and for being able to continue to maintain it, okay, for a long period of time now? What's the most important thing?
Hang on a second. Sorry about that. I was logged in. That was me. I was logging into my back office, and I heard the audio of the week start playing. You know what? It's hard to pick just one. I'm gonna cheat and pick 2. I'm gonna say that the information in the 15K formula. I used to be good at sales but lousy at marketing. Now I'm good at marketing, and I don't do any selling at all. So getting the 15K formula taught me more about marketing. Like I've had like 2,000 leads come in the last 24 hours. It's been stupid, and I learned that by getting into the 15K formula. The other thing would be learning how to communicate effectively. Some of the stuff that we covered last week in the last module on, just effective communication in general, whether it's in email, whether it's in video. Every dollar that we'll ever earn comes from and through people. And if you want to make a lot of money, then the only way to do that is by being of value to people. And there is a way of creating value and adding your value to the Empower Network value and communicating that in a way where people just want to buy. They feel good when they see your name in their inbox. They feel compelled to open the email. They can't not read the email. And when when you offer them something that makes sense, they just pull their credit card out and buy something. And then the good part of that is that we're giving them more in use value than we're taking from them in financial value, which for all of you guys watching this who are not in Empower Network, that's a key component to getting rich with clean hands, is always giving people more in value than they pay for. So and we're big on that here. We have a huge culture here for under promise and over deliver. So I think effective communication and just connecting with people in an authentic way. When I stopped, David, when I stopped feeling like I had to put my marketing hat on and I became this other person when I was marketing, like, ooh, I'm going to talk a certain way or be a certain way when I'm marketing. When I cut all that nonsense out and I just decided to just be myself 24/7, whether I was marketing or not, I just started making more money. And I think part of that comes from this culture we have here of authenticity, just being what you are. I mean, I can see David Wood's underarm hairs right now. That's the authenticity that we have. I think, people are, we are what we are. And I think that's what's attractive to people, is that when you show up and you're willing to just be yourself, and they realize, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for all these years and I didn't even know it. So authentic, effective communication, plus some nuts and bolts stuff on how to drive traffic so that you have plenty of people looking at your offer.
Well, dude, you got it, man. You got it. And I remember, by the way, seeing you go through that and just getting excited. You know what I mean? Just getting excited. And here's a guy, again, who put down the phone, picked up the paycheck. I just love saying that.
Say it again. I want to hear it one more time.
Put down the phone and pick up the paycheck. You take the phone, you put it down, you pick up the paycheck, because you can't hold both at once. Paychecks are heavy when you start making a lot of money. You kind of got to lift them up, carry them around.
That's right. You got to have both hands. You don't have another hand for the phone.
Anyways, appreciate you, buddy, and thanks for your insights here. I'm gonna move over to Chris Schreckert and feel free to just scoot on out whenever you need to scoot out or hang out. Whatever you want to do is cool. Appreciate you. Chris Schreckert. Chris is a different guy, and I wanted to bring him out. Now, I think you're still part-time here, but you've came out and just you started creating an extraordinary amount of results in a short period of time. We get a lot of people, and my only regret sometimes in doing these hangouts is really different here, because I don't know all the people making money by name. You know what I mean? Even who are making $10,000 a month and above, because there's always new ones all the time. And everybody on our top hundreds making over $5,000 a month. But you came out there and you were producing extraordinary results. You never ask for anything. You're never demanding. Whenever I've asked you to do anything, you say, I'm here to serve, which I actually, I've really liked that, just as a perspective that, sometimes people are there to take, you know what I mean? And you've always said, when I've said, hey, can you help us something? He says, I'm here to serve. Chris Schreckert, he's a different guy. Everybody watching this, and I'd take some notes just from that. But first, philosophy, right? Let's talk about values that you've got, that what you've produced here, and I know that you've been in direct sales before. You were producing amazing results over doing meetings and stuff with super high ticket stuff, right? Super high ticket stuff. What are your philosophies that help you to create the amount of results that you've got in the amount of time that you've got? Because it's extraordinary.
Sure. I mean, obviously, a lot of people want results right away. I think one of the biggest things that I experience out there in the field, I'm sure you experience it too, is people get in, and in their first 3 days or their first week, they're really, really disappointed and frustrated with themselves for not getting the results. So I've always kind of looked at this as a long-term venture, a challenge. I've looked at this as like just a growth period. I don't look at it as sort of like, hey, I'm going to get in, and if I don't do this, I'm going to be upset. I just get in and just get started and just get going. And every day I'm going to learn something new. Every day I'm going to grow. And if I just learn and apply these things, obviously I'm going to become a better human being. I'm going to become better at sales. I'm going to become better at business. And so that's sort of my attitude towards everything. So yeah, I do think the biggest misconception out there is that people get in and they expect. It's good to expect big things. I don't want to take away from that. But at the same time, if you're easily frustrated or you're easily disappointed, by not hitting these unrealistic goals for you, or even if they're possible, still, I mean, you give yourself no leeway for a learning curve. To get frustrated and get upset is it's actually detrimental to their business. And so one thing that I've been teaching people now at the start of 2013 is to really get a little bit more laser focused, to really get a little bit more just steer towards the direction you want to go, and when you start steering a little bit left, a little bit right, just get right back on track with what you're doing and be a lot more effective. Set a goal to like get laser focused and be more effective with your time, because as long as you accept the fact that you're on a journey, then you're not going to be so frustrated if after walking 3 steps you didn't reach your destination. You're going to realize you're 3 steps closer to your destination. And by having the proper mindset and the proper foundation, you know, people realize this is a phenomenal opportunity. I mean, what we're going to learn here in this journey, we're going to be able to take and apply for the rest of our lives in any internet marketing venture, and any products that we ever want to do, anything, any company we ever want to consult for. You know, heck, just throwing it out there. If all I did was go in Empower Network, study all the information, apply it, and have some success here in Empower Network, if that's all I ever did, I could take what I learned and I could go out and be a consultant to Fortune 500 companies, or even just small businesses around the country. I don't think I'd ever have to struggle to make money ever again in my life just with what I can learn through my experience with Empower Network. See, that's the part of the journey that I think if people understand that, if they have the right foundation, what you're learning, what you're going to take away from just from the learning experience alone is worth far more than the cost of entry in this program. I mean, I'll give you a couple examples. You know, Tony Rush. Okay, Tony Rush is just talking about effective communication. Well, you know, I spy on Tony Rush a lot. Tony's very, very easy to listen to. He's very methodical. He's intelligent. He never runs out of things to say. One thing he taught me early in the business, and he didn't teach me personally. Tony didn't get me on the phone. Actually, I don't think I've ever been on the phone with Tony. It's possible, but I don't think we ever have. But he just taught it openly to the company, to everybody. Everybody had the same learning experience that I had. Just the question is, did they take away from it? Tony Rush said, you know, when you're going out and you're buying leads and you're going and doing lead generation, you know, you might get some sales, but that's not really where you get your sales from. Sales comes from effective communication. So as you build this list, your sales are going to come from the ability to effectively communicate with that list. So you might have an autoresponder going. That's cool. But if it's somebody else's autoresponder, that's great. Plug and play, you're in the game. But that's not your personal communication. Or you might be doing swipe emails, like you might have sent out a swipe email to this webinar tonight from David Wood. That's great. Doing something is better than nothing. But as soon as you learn how to be an effective communicator with your list and start off your emails with these little personal stories and just really learn how to engage with your list, make it more real, you know, your sales start to dramatically go up. They start to spike up. And when I heard that little tip, all I did, and Tony doesn't even know this, I'm just giving him some credit right here, but all I did was I took what I learned and I started teaching it to my team as well, and I started doing it myself, and I watched my email conversions literally double off of, you know, and I'm being very, very generic with what he said. He said, you know, effective communication is where the sales are at. Obviously, taught a lot more in the training in Empower Network. So I'm smart enough to know I bought the training and study from him. But just these little tidbits are part of this journey where when I walk out of here, I'm going to walk out of here with an equivalent of a master's degree in internet marketing, like a black belt in internet marketing, where I came in with a little bit of experience. I had a little belt on, but it was the first belt you get, the first notch on the ladder. And I'm going to come out of here with a black belt. I'm going to come out of here armed and equipped with the knowledge and information that is going to make it so I never have to worry about unemployment. I never have to worry about feeding my family. I never have to worry about what the job market's doing, what the economy's doing. Forever, I could be an entrepreneur, and I could literally go out there and either create my own business, or I can market with a company like this, or I can go out there and consult with big companies because of this journey. And by that, having that foundation and just accepting that, I'm not worried about the learning curve. You know, I'm not worried about the stumbling blocks that are going to come along the way. I'm just not concerned with that at all. So I have this foundation, and I encourage everybody listening to do the same thing. In 2013, just get over the whole being a whiner and a complainer. Be over, you know, making excuses. I heard a long time ago, you can make excuses or you can make money. but you can't make both at the same time. So if you're busy making excuses, you're going to notice you're not making money. If you're busy making money, you're going to notice you're not making excuses. So every day you've got to wake up and decide which one am I going to be? Am I going to make excuses or am I going to make money? Now, in Empower Network, the new version of that is, am I going to be a wussy or am I going to be a badass? Because we have a wussy and a badass both sitting on our shoulders at any given time. You know, like the old story of like you got like the good angel and then you got like the devil, the bad angel. Well, the devil's like your inner wussy, and your inner wussy is just always feeding you stuff in your ear, is always telling you all this stuff about how you don't have money, you can't go all in. Why is David Wood always pitching all in? Doesn't he respect people like me that are broke? Doesn't David Wood understand that I'm broke? And you got this inner wussy that's always speaking. But then you have this inner badass over here that's saying, dude, you deserve more. Your family deserves more. You love your family. Dude, you can do this. You literally can do this. And you got this battle going on all the time. And, having the right foundation to be able to just take your inner wussy and be able, in the cartoons, like it goes poof and it disappears. Well, that's what you got to do. You just got to take that inner wussy and then poof, make it disappear, release the inner badass, and just realize, hey, look, I'm going to stop being that person. In 2013, I'm going to set some goals where I'm no longer going to complain. I'm no longer going to be a whiner. I'm no longer going to be a wussy. I'm no longer going to make excuses. And I'm going to accept the fact that, hey, this is a journey that I'm on. And the faster that I get the right foundation and the right attitude about this, the sooner I'm going to make money. The sooner that I get rid of that wussy and let this badass over here start taking charge, the sooner I'm going to make money. And we could teach all day long about specific how-to. We could teach all day about that stuff. But what we really need to be doing is teaching to have the proper foundation. I have so many people that say, well, Chris, I can't go all in. Well, my only answer to them is you're right. You can't. But if you want to rephrase that and say you can go all in, you're right. You can go all in. So many people spend so much time arguing what they think is possible instead of just accepting it and saying, you know what, I left that person back in 2012. I closed the door on 2012. I closed the door on that person, the person that used to be the I can't person, and now I'm the how can I person. Now I'm all about, hey, you know what? Let's be the how can I person. How can I do this? How can I do that? So every single person, if you get rid of your vocabulary, things like, well, I can't afford to go all in. Well, if you say that, you're right. You're going to convince yourself that you can't. But instead, if you say the same thing and just say, how can I go all in? And then do this. It's not anybody's responsibility but yours. So when you say, how can I go all in? It's not your sponsor's responsibility to help you go all in. It's not your team's responsibility. Dave Wood and Dave Sharp, they're my mentors. I just joined directly through a link and ended up with them. I don't send them questions about, how do I do this? How do I do that? Or if I have, it wasn't until I was already making 10 grand a month. And just wanted to learn how to spike it up a little. I went out there and said, how can I? And then I asked that question to myself. I'm not putting that question out there to the world and saying, you need to answer that for me. I'm saying, how can I, Chris? I'm having an internal discussion with me and my inner badass here. How can I? Me and my inner badass are talking back and forth. And my inner badass, which I just released, is saying, you know what, Chris? I'm going to go to work for you. And while you're sleeping, I'm going to be coming up with ways to make this possible because you want it. You want it bad enough. So my biggest thing that we're talking about here, David, to answer your question, is just the biggest thing about setting up your foundation for your business is just becoming the person that's going to be successful. Become the leader that people want to follow. People don't want to follow a wussy. They just don't. They don't want to follow a complainer. They don't want to follow somebody who's always talking about everything that's negative. They want to follow a winner. They want to follow somebody who's leading by example. So if you spend your time, constantly doubting everything and constantly pointing out what's negative and constantly doing that, what's happening is people don't want to follow that. And you're just not going to get it. And so I just totally agree with what I heard Tracy and Tony say, which ultimately a lot of it is just modeling. If we just model after people that we want to be like and just model after them, how many people on this Google Hangout are only at the $25 level? Or how many people here how many people in Empower Network do I meet when I go to these conferences and they're having success? How many of them are like, yeah, well, I'm only in at the $125 level. I've made about 25 grand there so far, but I'm only at the $125 level. No, you hear the same thing, which is, hey, look, despite the odds, I went all in. A lot of them didn't have the money. They're like, look, I didn't have the money, but I made a decision to go all in. I did whatever it took. I mean, I sold my car, I did this, I did that. I did whatever it took, and I went all in. And then I took massive action, and I started following all the principles. You know, for some of them, it didn't happen in 3 days. Some of them, it didn't happen in 3 weeks. But eventually it happened because they modeled after the people that were successful. They started listening to them and following their advice, and eventually they started getting those results for themselves. And that's really kind of been the New Year's goal for me, David, is just really just modeling after each and every person. Modeling after you, David. David Wood, you taught me about, you know, effective calls to action. Do you know how much more money that's made me by having an effective call to action? I took my income from about $17,000 to $41,000 in a month by taking a principle that you taught me about effective calls to action. Now, what if I invested to go all in this business and I was able to take my income from $17,000 the month before to $41,000? How much is that worth? And how many more months am I going to reap the benefits of that one nugget on creating these effective calls to action? What about David Sharp, you know, teaching me how to be transparent and authentic and being able to be myself, being more comfortable in my own skin, not having to try to fake it, not having to try to, you know, try to become, you know, somebody fake. Just be myself. I mean, I'm sitting here super casual, just not really caring. Sure, I don't cuss like some of the other people here, and maybe we have different beliefs on things, but you guys accept me for who I am. It's this total transparent, authentic. Heck, you want to learn about transparency. If you can ever get around Ashley, I had a chance to hang out with her in Florida last week. Ashley's like this just amazing person with probably the stories that are crazier than anything you've heard from any of us. And she's sharing those with me, and it's just what I took away from that experience is just like, holy smokes, we have some very, very real people here. It's a very, very real thing. These aren't people who are just out to take advantage of people. These are people that are out there that have maybe been taken advantage of in their life, and they don't want that, and they're on a mission to be able to actually go out and help people. You know, and Tracy, I'll go over to Tracy. Tracy taught me team culture. When I first got in the business, looking at the dream team and looking at what they did and modeling after that, I looked at her and said, now there's a leader that I can model after when it comes to creating team culture and community culture. So you see, there's these people. There's Lawrence Tam, who showed me that it was possible to be part-time in this business and create a significant income part-time. So what I did was I looked at the people that were successful, I modeled after them, and I followed in their footsteps. And I only had about an hour or two a day to do it. So I was very, very, very focused in that hour or two a day to say, how can I take some of what David Wood teaches, some of Tony Rush, some of Tracy Walker and Lawrence Tam and David Sharp and Ashley Needles, and you name all the leaders out there. How can I do it? And that's it. See, I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey. So, you know, if I have to fail my way forward, I'm fine with that. If I have to hit a few bumps in the road, I didn't get 2,000 leads in the last 24 hours like Tony Rush did. Heck, I haven't even ventured into the paid advertising game. 99% of what I've done is just free advertising. My two main strategies are Facebook and Power Network blog. That's where I get probably 95% of all my business comes from those. I even created a couple of my own custom sales funnels just to mess around with it and have some fun with it. But at the end of the day, like clockwork, man, that Empower Network blog keeps ranking for me. So I'm going to be learning so much more about paid advertising and all this stuff. But that's it. I mean, David, it's kind of a long answer, but I'm just so excited to be out here. I'm so excited for what 2013 has to bring, and there's just so much on my mind.
Well, you know, I appreciate you, man, and I like the way, and I always like different perspectives that are all successful. And what I want to do real quick is just point out a couple of things here. But also, if you're watching this webinar and you're not in, number one, get in. Okay, and if you're in already, you need to get to Austin, Texas. You need to get to Austin, Texas. You need to bring a camera with you, and you need to get some videos to use in your marketing. If no other purpose than that, you need to get there. You also need to get there for what Tony Rush said, which is you need to surround yourself with people that got the results that you want. We're not one of these groups that does like millions of meetings all over the place. They're not pitch fest. They're NDA events. You're not even allowed to talk about what goes on in there when you're outside of it. And you just need to get to Austin. Trust me, get there. Log into your back office. There's a green button. You need to buy your tickets now because we're almost sold out for all the event ticket seats. We only got like a few hundred event ticket seats that are possible left. Okay. We only can fit a certain amount of people. We've got hotel information, everything on the My Programs tab where you can get your hotel rooms. You need to get to Austin. Okay. First of all, get in, get to Austin, get all in, and we're going to meet you there. We're going to show you how to take it through the top. I'm going to talk more about Austin and more about what's next here, and also more about focus as we go along. But a couple things I wanted to point out. A couple of these guys have mentioned that they disconnect a little bit from thinking that you have to work hard to make money. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to tell everybody why, just real quick. Okay. I want to tell everybody why that is. All right. Because a lot of times people hear that, and it's so against the grain of programming. You know what I mean? Isn't it? I mean, I don't know how many people on here were told that you have to work hard to get money when you're a kid. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't just going to say you don't have to work hard, right? That you just have to get in. I'm not going to say that. All right. What I'm going to say is that goes against our grain and kind of like how we're growing up. All right. But what I want you to think about this for a second is how is money how do you actually get money? Okay. And I'm going to, once I describe this, you're going to understand how you can disconnect from thinking you have to work hard to get it. And it's the first step of believing this is easy. Okay. So you got all this money over here that you're going to get. I just like to say get money because it's funny, because it makes people nervous just saying it. But you got all this money over here you're going to get. How do you actually get money? Well, in our profession, which is internet marketing, or whatever you want to call it, here's how you get money. Okay. Do you make money from phone calls? No. Do you make money from emails? No. Do you make money from sales videos? Well, no. Right? How do you make money? You make money from people buying stuff. Right? I mean, it's pretty elementary, but some people gloss over the people. You make money from people buying stuff. Right? That's how you make money, is when people decide to buy stuff. You make money. All right? So you could have in direct sales, somebody might buy stuff, 20 levels down in an organization. You might make money from that. Right? And you might make money when somebody buys stuff from you. All right? Now, I actually asked that question. It was like a couple years ago. I said, well, how do I actually make money here? And I said, well, I make money when I recruit an affiliate, right? And they buy products, because we only make money for product sales. This is in another company. This is true also in Empower Network. You don't make money for recruiting. You make money from selling, right? Somebody buys a $25 blog, you earn a commission. Somebody buys an Inner Circle membership, you earn a commission. Somebody buys they buy a Costa Rica Mastermind, you earn a $500 commission. Somebody buys a 15K formula, you earn a $1,000 commission. Somebody buys a master's course, you earn a $3,000 commission, right? So you earn commissions when people buy stuff, right? That's how you make money, right? Now here's the breakthrough. I asked the question that was a different question asked. I said, do I need to be involved in the selling process at all, or do I still make money if they just buy? Right? And when I thought about it, I couldn't think of a way that I had to be involved in that. For example, I was taught that you had to be on the phone with people, or you're not really doing the business, right? You're not really doing the business. Oh yeah, how many times have people said that to us, Dave? Oh yeah, you're not really doing the business because you're not on the phone. If you don't love the phone, you don't love the business. I was like, well, the business is people buying, not me being on the phone. What does me being have to be? And so if the phone helps, I can hire somebody to be on the phone. I don't need to do it. So guys, you've got the people buy stuff, and you can be completely disconnected from that process, and you still make the money. Isn't it beautiful? That's how you can disconnect. So when you think about that, what actually needs to happen for you to make $1 million in 2013? It's so unbelievably rudimentary. It's unbelievable, right? What actually needs to happen? What needs to happen is you need to get people to buy enough stuff every day to where you make about $3,000 a day. If that happens, you'll make $1 million in 2013, right? Now that might sound real difficult to you, but there ain't a lot there. You need enough people to buy stuff for you to make $3,000 a day on average. And it's best to focus daily, okay? And we'll talk about that why maybe as we go through, maybe on another live stream, all right? Second thing is that he talked about not having outrageous expectations. Not having outrageous expectations. Now I'm going to encourage you to be slightly outrageous, all right? And let me clarify what I think here with this. And I'm going to ask him one more question here, and I don't know if he can stay or go. But what do we mean by that? Well, sometimes people get in, okay, and we're not de-edifying this at all right? Like when I started in Empower Network, we made $250,000 our first month as affiliates, right? From zero, we didn't have a 15K formula. We only had up to the $500 product. We didn't have a $3,000 commission. Dave Sharp and I made $250,000 not owning the company. We did that from the normal affiliate account that was passing up sales to the company. That position made some money too, right? Which, of course, we took all that and put it back into the company, but we made $250,000 as affiliates our first month, right? Well, some people say, oh, how do you do that? How did you do that? Well, we had a list we had been building for a couple of years, and a lot of influence is how we did it. And we sponsored a lot of good people. We brought in about 600 or 800 people that month, or 1,000 people that month, or something like that. from our existing spheres of influence because I've been very consistent for a very long time, so I have a lot of people listening to me. So that's not what a new person could do. Vic, this guy named Vic just got in, and in a week he made $280,000, right? Now, sometimes people look at that and they're like, I'm jealous. I've, been doing this a long time, right? And I'm not there. And you say, well, okay, let's be fair. So has he been doing it a long time? And he had a big list, all right? So what do you do when you're new? Well, you're obviously you're not going to go and you're not going to make $280,000 your first month. Even if you're doing the right things, you're not going to do that. It's not going to happen like that. Unless you're a superhero, which is if you're the superhero, you're not the normal person that's doing this. So what do? Well, you focus on 2 sales a day, okay? Because that's enough to where your income will increase dramatically and it will do it quickly and you'll be progressing extraordinarily quickly, okay? Focus on getting just the sales every day, creating sales every day. What do you focus on? You're creating sales every day. Now, are you selling? Well, you could be in the selling process. You might not be. It's pretty irrelevant. You should focus on 2 sales a day, okay? So I want to just point that out. And the other thing that I wanted to point out about what he said that I just gonna just reinforce a little bit is modeling the success from different people. He took a concept on closing, on getting people to buy, and that one concept doubles his income like this, okay? Well, similarly, I'm going to go to things that he does that I'm not as good at, and I'm going to model him, right? We can all learn from each other who are succeeding in different ways, right? We can all learn from each other, right? Take what people are doing that gets the results that you want and do that. Chris Record had our first event that he came to one of our events, was not building in power. I think he was just checking us out. The next event, he had like 100, 150 people at that event. This next one, he'll have 200, 300. Okay, and he's part-time, right? Now, how's he doing that? Well, if we could take what he's doing there part-time and we could teach it and systematize it for everybody, then all of a sudden, everybody can get more people to the events, which means everybody has success. And why do you want to get to the events? I'll tell you why. And he knows why. Chris Record knows why, and this happened for him too. Why do you need to get to the events? Well, let me just give you first let's just do the greed factor first, okay? Let's talk about just, I shouldn't say greed, but let's just talk about the money, right? The money here for getting money, all right? Our first event, here's what happened. 1,200 people showed up in a room, okay, in Atlanta, right? 1,200 people showed up, and in 60 days, everybody's incomes doubled who were in the top couple hundred people. The whole company doubled. Tracy got to experience that. Tony Rush got to experience that. We saw it across thousands of affiliates. We saw everybody's incomes double. Why? Because there's something magical about what we're doing, and you'll see it when you go. We cannot do in a live stream what we can do with you in 3 days in an event with nearly 4,000 people, which is what we're going to have in Austin. Next event, what happens? Well, we get 2,700 or something, just under 3,000 people that were in the actual room. Room couldn't quite fit 3,000. We had the room packed out there. What happened? Well, we got these people in the room, right? And again, 60 days. What happens is the entire company doubled in sales volume, right? Within 60 days, right? So here we're coming up to January, which everybody here is setting New Year's resolutions. You're setting goals for the coming year. And you need to get to Austin. You need to go in, log in, buy your tickets for your Austin. And I would say if you're married, bring your wife. And I'd say if you're in some sort of relationship, but you're not married, but it's kind of like that anyways, you need to bring them, right? Spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. You need to bring the people you love because it'll get them on board with the vision. It'll get them on board with the vision, and you want that. You want them to be on board. Here's the thing, guys. I'd just log in, buy your tickets to Austin and go, right? Because we're going to get to Austin, and it's going to be a spring forward for 2013. All of you guys are trying to accomplish something in 2013. Most people will set resolutions. This is what the world does, not us. They set resolutions that they never fight for, and they give up on immediately. Those of you who come to Austin, okay, right, you are going to have a game plan, crystal clarity, and you are going to have the ability and the power to get the results that you want. Those of you who decide to go, decide to be, you will experience what we are going to do at this event. There's never been anything like what we're going to do. Why? Well, our first events, Dave Sharp and I created the infrastructure for the events, right? It was a brainchild of 2 people working together as a mastermind, right? We can talk about this more before we get off the live stream today, right? Here's the difference in the next event, okay? The next event is a brainchild of the top people in the Empower Network representing about $1 million a month in income. Okay? It's a brainchild of about 15 people that were about where Dave Sharp and I were when we did our first event. So it's a bigger mastermind with a lot more feedback, ideas, concepts, and energy that's going into it. And we're 10 times as successful now as we were when we did the first event. There will be nothing like this that you'll ever get a chance to attend. As you've never been able to attend something like this in your life, you need to get your butt to Austin, get to Austin. Okay, you need to get there. All right. So last thing. This is a different question for you, Chris. How do you get so many people to events? Because for the size of your team, you have an extraordinary amount of people who get to the events. How do you do that?
Well, simple. I mean, at least it feels simple to me. The event, a lot of people see the event as just this optional thing or this upsell or something like that. I see the event as part of the process. I mean, again, success leaves clues. This is just, I'll speak very, very common sense right now. Success leaves clues. How many successful people are not going to show up at the event in the company? So if you're going to go back to modeling after somebody, you're going to model after leaders to have success. Well, are they going to be at the event or not? Have you chosen some leaders to model after, and are they going to be at the event? Now, there might be some. This is an internet marketing company, and it's worldwide. Okay, it's international. So of course, there might be some people due to the distance that maybe don't go. But heck, last time there were people from all over the world there. So that impressed me. But for the vast majority, you're going to notice that the people that rise up in the company are at the events. They're the people that go to the events. They understand the importance of events. They understand the importance of local networking, meeting each other. They understand the importance of bringing an online community offline and in person. They understand the importance of recording videos together, taking pictures together, doing in-person testimonials. They understand the importance of the culture that happens. When you walk away from an event, you have a good 30 to 60 to 90 days worth of extra energy. That's just like an energy pack, like in a video game where you boost up in energy. It's like an energy pack that's given to you after you attend an event. That energy pack lasts the next 90 days for you. Everyone's on fire after it. So literally from event to event is how I chose to build my business right in the beginning. So that's just the way that Team Take Massive Action, my team, the way that we build is just event to event to event. That's sort of how we judge the growth of our team, is how many people do we have at this event and how many people do we have at that event. We want to get up to a point of having over 1,000 at an event, over 5,000 at an event, because we understand that big events are where big decisions are made. You know, if you go online and you get ready to go all in, I mean, how many, really, how much emotion is it when somebody's just sitting there and they're deciding whether or not to go all in, versus if they're sitting at a live event, they're meeting people that have just gone all in, they're hearing stories, they're experiencing the culture, their motivation to go all in is so much higher. So I just know event to event is the way to build the business. So since I know that right from the beginning, that's how we've built our team. Rather than just come up with bonuses or incentives for people who maybe upgrade to products, which we do. We have bonuses and incentives for everything. Right off the bat, we always have a huge incentive for people that show up to the event. Hey, you show up to the event, here's our team incentive. Anything we could do to get people to an event. When we're at the event, we have a team party. Let's party. And we've even helped people that don't even have teams. A lot of people don't have teams. So get to the event and get to meet other people. I mean, that's the team. The big company team is there. It's like the big team party. Get to meet everybody. You'll meet people. You'll belong to a team. So if you're on right now and you're the type of person that might respond and say, hey, my mentor doesn't even help me, or I'm not fortunate enough to be on a team. Well, yeah, you're automatically on the Dave and Dave team. Everybody's automatically on. I'm on the Dave and Dave team. Dave and Dave are my sponsors. That I'm going to go to their team party during the event. They have a big event they throw for the whole company. We're all on a team, and you get to meet these people and experience this culture. And it's unlike anything. I mean, imagine taking a successful online business and then also having a real offline community of real people, real average ordinary people that are having success, and you can meet them physically in person. You can shake their hands. You can take pictures with them. Now, let me give you a couple of those are just some of the basic reasons why you want to go to events. But let's talk about money for a minute. Right? You want to make money. I would think every single person on this webinar probably joined, 90% of you probably joined for the money. Of course, there's some good products and good education, but probably 90% of you joined for the money. So let's get a little focused on money here. Here's why events are going to make you a ton of money. Here's why they can make you a ton of money. Okay, Number one, exposure is everything. When you go to the event, you want to take pictures of you at the event. Automatically, you have the credibility. You in front of backdrops, you in front of thousands of people, you're in the company. You're automatically doing that. You can share those on your blog. You can share those in your emails. You can share those on Facebook, okay? You're automatically there. You can take pictures with other leaders. A lot of the leaders here are real and they're down to earth. I mean, of course they're busy because they're getting mobbed by thousands of people, but they make time. It's pretty cool. It's very, very cool. You take pictures with them. You get shots with them. You know, some leaders even allow you to do videos. If they have time, they'll do a quick video testimonial for you. How much would that be worth? Being able to go be with somebody who, at the last event in San Diego, I had one of my guys, Peter Sorensen, do a video with Tony Rush. And Tony Rush is making like $100,000 a month. We got a video with him and did that interview, and we've had countless amount of people watch that video and jump in the company because of that one video. Imagine if we wouldn't have gone to the event. Imagine how many sales we would have lost. Imagine how many people wouldn't have joined. So financially, here's what you want to do. You want to get to the, and hopefully you're either taking notes or just memorizing this. You want to get to the event. You want to get there early. You want to sit as close to the front of the room as you possibly can. You want to bring your camera and even bring your video camera, or at least bring like an iPhone or something like that. Any smartphone, okay? What you want to do is you want to get video footage. You want to, when you come out of a session, go into the hall and film yourself just how excited you are about something you learn with the backdrop. And then every once in a while, be very courteous and professional about it, because when you see these big leaders, you know, they're going to be mobbed by everybody. So stand out a little bit. Be professional. Be courteous. Don't overwhelm them. See if you can get a picture taken with them, and then maybe ask them for a quick testimonial. And don't be bummed if they can't, because they're trying to, you know, go straight to the bathroom and everybody's, you know, tackling them. But try to get a couple videos, some pictures, and take that back. And now you're equipped with an offline strategy. Has equipped you with things that you can use online for the next several weeks. For all the whole next month, you could be leveraging all of that stuff to double or triple or quadruple your income in the business. And it's the power of positioning. See, one of the things I love, and this is another thing I learned from David Wood that I've really not heard anywhere in the industry. This is where David Wood is completely opposite of pretty much anyone in the industry. He talks about everybody wants to brand themselves. Everybody gets in and go, oh, you know, the secret to success is to brand yourself. Well, I think that it's true. But where a lot of people misunderstand that is they think in the beginning, on day one, that they have to brand themselves. Really all that's happening is you're branding yourself as an expert when really you're not. Really you're not making any money yet. Really you haven't understood this stuff yet. You haven't even gone through the training in the 15K formula or the master's program yet. You haven't really gotten your black belt yet, but you're already claiming to be a guru. David Wood's got a phenomenal perspective on this. He teaches us to leverage the credibility of other successful people first. So we're leveraging real credibility, people that are actually really successful and actually have value to provide, leveraging that credibility to earn income ourselves. And then once we start earning income, once we start kind of going up the rank of those belts, if this was martial arts, you know, get your new belts, once you do that, eventually you do become the expert, you do become the guru, and you actually have a brand worth branding. You have a brand worth branding. So this is part of the thing about events, is that you can go to events and you have this built-in credibility that you have that you cannot get in the online world alone. Offline events, these real community events, give that to you. So from a financial perspective alone, the amount of money that you'd potentially be missing by not attending an event is scary. I wouldn't even want to think of the amount of money that I would lose by not going to Austin. Are you crazy? Even if I was my first month in the business, the amount of money I would lose is crazy. Okay, real story. I was in the business for a few days, and I went out to Atlanta, Georgia. Me and a couple of my business partners, people like Hurricane Arthur, Peter Sorensen, George Bailey, a couple friends. We all went out to this event in Atlanta, Georgia, to see what this whole Empower Network thing was about. That event, what I took home from that event, rapidly multiplied my success. So I was able to generate $10,000, roughly $10,000 in commissions in my first 30 days from that event. And now, had I not gone to the event, I'd probably be sitting around trying to figure out how to get my first 10 sales. Because there's really two groups of people, aren't there? There's the group of people that are still trying to figure out how to get a 2-a-day, and then there's the other group of people that are getting a 2-a-day no matter what. They're doing it every day. Maybe miss a day and make up for it later. There's really two groups of people. And what I've found is that if you really want to get 2-a-day, if you want to learn the secrets, if you want to really get that to happen, well, that's what the event does. The event gets it from your head to your heart. It gets you to the point where you're going to make this happen no matter what. It gives you an inner motivation that you just can't get when you're dealing with day-to-day life. I've got 2 kids under 2. Sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're crying. Sometimes, like last night, the kid decides to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and guess what? I just got to start my day at 4 a.m. in the morning. I didn't want to do that after going to bed well after midnight, but that's just the price you pay. So when you're dealing with the day-to-day hectic stuff that's going on, there's only so much focus you can have. But when you go to Austin and you go and you sit in the seat there, you're going to have this clarity that's going to come over you because you're going to remove the distractions of the world. You're going to be focused. You're going to be in an environment of a bunch of winners, people that are going to literally be sitting next to you that are going to go from making $1,000 a month to $100,000 a month in the next 12 months, and you're going to literally have had a chance to meet them when they were brand new, when they just overcame being broke, and a year from now you're going to be watching them on stage making $100,000 a month. And for some of you, that's going to be you. So everything comes down to events. Events is how I know how to build a business, event to event to event. And in between the events, this last little piece of knowledge that I'll drop on everybody here is in between the events, there's one thing to focus on that I put the majority of my time on, and that is income producing activities. Every single day, income producing activities. And eventually, Tracy Walker said this earlier, in the beginning it's a grind. It really is. It's in the beginning you're hustling, but then over time it starts compounding and it just starts getting easier and easier and easier to the point where this last month I worked about an hour or 2 a day on marketing for Empower, and then took the last 2 weeks off. And literally, for those that are on my team, like I was pretty much just completely out of the game. I haven't golfed in several months because of the kids and everything. I went golfing like 5 times last week. 5-6 hours on the golf course, just having fun, just enjoying it, and no phone. Left my phone in the car. I mean, just even disattaching from my phone made me feel liberated, like David Wood. It just made me just feel like, wow, it's actually possible to have a life, maintain a life while building a business. And that's because you focus on income producing activities. For me, that happens to be things like writing a blog post a day. I spend no more than an hour a day blogging, and I try to spend about half of it writing the post and about half of it promoting the post. And then I do what I call the Facebook method, which is I reach out to 20 new people on Facebook. I just search and find and reach people. Most of them don't respond, but some of them do, and some of them sign up. And it's just been free traffic and free leads and free sales for me, so it's worked, and I enjoy it, and it's something that I can do with my kid on my lap. So it's just a thing that works for me. And I built up my email list, so every day I try to send out an email, and I'd have to admit that's one of the areas I've fallen the most short on, is not sending out emails. So that's another thing in 2013. But that's it. You just figure out what's going to work for you. Every time, be placing solo ads, be doing paid advertising, be doing free advertising. You figure out what the income producing activities are, and you do them just commit to them. And what happens is those lead to leads on your list, to people joining, to people attending the conference, to people going all in, to you having $10,000 months, then $40,000 months, then $100,000 months, and a year's going to pass by, and you're going to look back and go, no, and people are going to not believe you. They're going to think, oh, well, you already had this big, huge list when you joined, or, oh, you were already an expert. Well, you don't understand my situation. And you're going to look back, and you're going to just freaking trip out. You're going to trip out because you made it happen, and you got to this amazing place in your life where you're no longer financially dunked underwater, and you can pay your bills, and you have extra money, and you can pay your cars off cash, and you can pay off all your credit card debt, and you can not have to worry about feeding your kids, and you're going to look back, and it's going to seem surreal. And the thing is that everybody wants that tomorrow. Everybody wants that result tomorrow. But the reality is that no matter how fast you want it, if you just do income-producing activities, that's going to get you there. And if you're not doing income-producing activities, then it's possible. I just don't know how. The way that I know how that has worked for me in the past, and I've seen it work for people, is income-producing activities. So your New Year's resolutions, or better yet, goals, should be to write down a list of write down a list of income-producing activities that you're going to do every day, even if it's an hour a day or 5 hours or whatever. And when you're done with those, then do the other fun stuff. Then do the learning curve stuff. After you've done something, then jump in the 15K formula and study and sharpen your saw. But make sure that you're getting your 2 a day. Today, by 9 p.m. My time, it's my goal every single day. By 9 p.m., my goal is to have 2 new people registered and to have 1 person buy their conference ticket. By 9 p.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. That's my goal every single day. And honestly, I haven't hit it every single day, but in 7 months, I recruited 250 people personally just doing that. Now, I'm like the slow tortoise guy who does the 2-a-days, and eventually it just adds up. I've not had these big 10-person a day or 20 people a day signups, or 100 people a day like some people have. Just 2 a day. 2 a day, 2 a day, 2 a day. And one more tip I'll leave you with before I'm going to put my kids to sleep right now in a minute. One more tip I'm going to leave you with is this. For those of you that are competitive out there, like myself, and I know it's not everybody, but like myself, for those of you that are competitive, I built my business around the leaderboard, the competition leaderboard. I knew getting on the total income and total leads boards and everything, I knew that was, it probably wasn't going to happen my first day. But the competition leaderboard, Dave and Dave opened it up for everybody. So here's what I did. I focused on just getting myself on the board, and I was like the last guy, like number 500 or whatever, and then number 350, and then number 300, and then number 250. Just inching my way up, doing 2 a day, 2 a day, 2 a day. Because if you do 2 and sell a conference ticket, you get an extra 100 bonus points. Okay, so right off the bat, if you do that, if you just do a 2-1 once before midnight Eastern time that day, you're on the board. So there's your report card. Your report card, and my challenge to you is, if you're not on the leaderboard, get your name on the leaderboard. Do that this week. It requires enrolling 2 people and selling a conference ticket to one of your personally enrolled people in a day. And then if you can do it once, if you can do something once, you can do it over and over and over again. And it starts with 2-1. And then you get to the point where you have your first $1,000 day, then your first $3,000 day. And guess what? When you can have a $3,000 day, if you can do it once, you can do it over and over again. And that's how you become a millionaire. But it all starts with the simple basics. 2 a day, follow the course steps. You hear the leaders saying it, and you think there's really a hidden secret, but that's my secret. 2 a day, and you'll notice I just inch my way up there. Just slowly but surely, I end up there with all these big leaders on the leaderboard, and it's motivating. And whether or not I win the contest doesn't matter, because I'm on a journey to get my master's degree in internet marketing, and I've chosen Empower Network as the university of choice to get my master's degree, and I've chosen to listen to some awesome like-minded people that are here on this chat, and all the other leaders in the company. And if you are on the webinar and you end up making a decision to go to Austin, come seek us out, shake our hands, take some pictures, and we'll have a blast out there. But I do got to put my kids. Put my kids to sleep. So.
Hey, well, we appreciate you, buddy. And there's people on there, and they're like, every time Chris talks, I want to just get in again. So, guys, if you just heard him talk, you just heard that. So just get in if you ain't in, and if you're in, get all in and get to the event. You guys got to get to the event. We've actually had a huge amount of people buying event tickets on this live stream, and we've had a lot of people buying other products too. The beautiful thing is, and this is the last thing I'm going to mention here, our first event, we went into it, everybody in the top 100 was making about, because I can only look at the top people for the top 100, that doesn't go on 1,000, so I just kind of focus on that, but I'm going to have that list expand. I want to see what the top 1,000 are making too. But everybody in the top 100 was making it was like $1,400 a month when we went into the first event. By the second event, everybody was making over in a month. Our top 100 were all making like $2,600 a month, right? And now after our second event, that was when we went into the event. Now we're going into the third event here, and everybody in the top 100 is making it's like $5,000 a month or more. And guys, that's a huge increase for 9 months. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable, right? What's going to happen in Austin, we'll do more than that. We'll do better, right? I believe. Because it's the new year, and 2013 is the year of the Empower Army. It's the year you guys break through, but you've got to make a decision to get there, right? And you're not going to see that growth if you don't go. So get your butt there, okay? And so real quick, hey, Dave, how are you doing on time, man? I didn't ask you. I don't know what you got going on tonight. You good for a while? Or you for like 20, 30 minutes? Or you need to take off?
I got to pop off here probably in about 20 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Dave Sharp. Now, Dave, of course, he's my business partner. We're always training. Tracy Walker has to jump off. Tracy, we appreciate you. I love you, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. So thanks for coming out.
See you, Trace.
Bye, Dave. Bye, Dave. Bye, Ashley.
So, Dave, and you have a very particular skill set too. You're also like all of us in the sense that you're a master at three things, and then everything else you get other people to do who are better at it, right? And we've kind of had to evolve that in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? It's been fun over the last year. So tell me, what are some of the philosophies that you've had or you've acquired, especially, and I want to ask this, from a different perspective, because we own Empower Network. What are some of the philosophies that you've acquired over the last year that have aided you in being able to become who you are today and to lead this charge of this company that's right now doing, whatever, 4 to 6 million a month in sales or whatever total, and we're gonna double that after our next event again. But what are your main philosophies that drive being able to do what you do?
Man, I was thinking about so many things tonight as everybody was talking. The main, in a kind of an interesting situation, you asking me questions and interviewing me. It's just always something new that we're doing, man, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? It's hilarious. We've just done so much together. My main philosophy behind what we do is guys, I think we probably still have, I don't know how many people are still on the call, probably or the live stream or hangout, probably over 1,000, I would assume. But it gets to a point in life to where you really start to look at what you've done in the past, what you're doing right now, and what you want to do in the future, and you start to ask yourself some really important questions. And those questions, some of the questions that I started to ask myself was, what is the legacy that I'm leaving here? And what do I want people to say about me a year from now, 5 years from now? What do I want my family to say about me if I have a freak accident tomorrow and die? Or what do I want my children to say about me when the day comes that I move on to the afterlife? And I think that a lot of that perspective for me comes from my past, because I've seen a lot of people die. Just the truth of where I've come from. I've seen people, I've been to a lot of funerals. A lot of the friends that I grew up with and ran with when I was young are in prison now. A lot of them are dead. I've seen a lot of people who have lived with a lot of regrets. I've had a lot of people who have a lot of experience in life who have sat me down and they've said, Dave, and they haven't really said it in the condescending kind of creepy way that some older people, and when I say older, God, nowadays at 29, I could be considered older. I've got a 13-year-old daughter who I feel like senior to, like I'm 80. But I'm not talking about in the way that, somebody will sit you down and say, if I could do it all over again, I would do it this way, and this is how I think you should do. Not in that way. Just people who have sat me down and said, Dave, I'm reevaluating what I'm doing with the rest of my life. And if I could go back and do it again, these might be some of the changes that I would make. Not that having regrets is a good philosophy to live life with, But I've gotten to the point now to where I've had my own experience now looking back over what I've done over the course of the last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and I've realized that I will not spend another day doing something that I don't want to do. And I was actually just talking about this with somebody close the other day. A lot of us live the majority of our lives people-pleasing. And a lot of us live the majority of our lives on somebody else's agenda. And what I think Empower Network stands for more than anything else is that an army of people stood up and said, I'm tired of doing it the way that society says that I should do it. And I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do it the way that I feel inside is the right thing to do, because I realize that I only live once, and I realize that I'm going to make the most out of the time that I have here on this earth. And when this day is over, when this week is over, when this month is over, when this year is over, when my life is over, not only do I want to be satisfied with the way that I spent my time and the people that I spent it with, but I also want people to have a positive experience and positive memories with me. It's one of the reasons why I just picked up and took my daughter on a little vacation here over the last week, was because I'm creating memories with my daughter, and I'm building relationships with people that I want to spend time with, and I'm creating memories with people because I woke up one day and I realized that we've only got so much time on this earth. And as much time as I believe I have left, I'm not willing to waste a day of it with people that I don't want to spend time with. I'm not willing to waste a day of it doing things that I don't want to do. And so that's one of the philosophies that I live and that I build my business with. Is, I think that a lot of people misinterpret what we mean when we say the easy way. You know what I'm saying? Get rich quick and easy, right? Which drives people crazy when we say it, but I love saying it too because it drives people crazy. And it makes people uncomfortable, and I love making people as uncomfortable as I possibly can, because that really will, one, reveal who they are to not only me but also to them, right? And show where they can make some changes and some improvements, because I used to be uncomfortable with things too until I stopped just giving a damn what everybody thought about me, and I started living my life on my terms, which again is what Empower stands for. But I realized, and we've learned this also too, I think over the last year, is that when we first launched, we worked our asses off, and leading up into the launch, we worked our asses off, not only as the chief technology officers and the the head of accounting and the head of legal and the head of admin and all this other stuff, and also the leaders of the sales force, right? But we finally stepped back and realized, there's certain things that I should be doing in business and certain things that I shouldn't be doing in business. And what Dave and I have done over the last year is we've learned how to consolidate our time and our skill sets into what Dave was talking about earlier, which is into a laser-focused strategy that allows us to be able to still work on self-development and still continue to grow as marketers, while also having a life building and running one of the largest companies online, as well as continuing to build our business as affiliates. And that's one thing that makes us unique. That's one thing that makes this company unique, is that we're building the leadership team from the top down, is building this as a marketer. And do we have big plans for product development? Do we want to become one of the leading technology companies on the internet? Absolutely, and we are. And some of the things that we're going to release over 2013, you're going to want to be on this side of the fence. Trust me, because the truth of the matter is what we're rolling out, coming out with 2013, is going to blow the lid off of the internet marketing space in the technology world in a way that I'm excited and pumped up and looking forward to seeing just kind of how everybody reacts to it and what happens. But we build the business from a marketer's perspective. So it's unique and beneficial for all of you guys also, because most people who get involved, there's been a couple of people over time who have been network marketers or affiliate marketers, and they went on to start companies. And they got all caught up in the minutia of running a company and forgot what it was like to be a marketer. It's kind of like being homeless and forgetting what it's like to be homeless, and forgetting where you came from. And if you don't remember where you came from, you're bound to repeat it again. Well, one of the things about us is we never forget where we came from, and the reason why we haven't forgot where we came from is because we've never left the basics. The reason why we talk about the 8 core commitments is because we never stopped doing them. We sat down when we launched the company and said, what are the things that we've done over the past couple of years that's made the most difference in our life and in our business, and what are the things that we do on a daily basis that make the biggest impact on our income? And that's where the 8 core commitments came from. So the cool thing about Empower is that we'll never ask you to do something that we haven't already done and are not doing it on a daily basis. And our philosophies are so unique and so different that we're able to train people, we're able to teach people skill sets, we're able to pass skill sets on, we're able to be mentors to people in the real meaning of what a mentor really is. Because a mentor is not a hand holder. A mentor is not somebody who's going to come along and, when you shart in your pants, we're not going to come and change your diaper for you and throw it in the washing machine and make sure that you've always got a clean pair of underwear on. We're not going to come and cook you dinner. We're not going to clean your house. We're not, every time we see you doing something dumb, we're not going to come behind you and try to correct it, because we know and we believe that the best way for you to learn something is to actually get involved, get in the game, and actually do it. And when you run into a brick wall, you come and you say, hey, Dave, I ran into a brick wall. What is your experience when you ran into this brick wall? Because I know you've got it because you've been there before and you're actively marketing. And what would you say that I do in this situation? We're not going around teaching people and telling people how they need to build a business. We're here building our business, and we create masterminds, and we create alliances, and we create places to where we can work with other people who are producing or who are all into the business, and we contribute to each other's lives and each other's businesses. So to answer in a long-winded way your question, man, my philosophy is once a marketer, always a marketer. I don't forget where the hell I came from. You know, the truth of the matter is there's some specific things that have made the biggest difference inside of my business. There's some things that have made such an impact on our ability to be able to build an affiliate account. Most people don't even know what the type of results that we're producing, because we don't have our names all over the leaderboards, because we actually want to lift our leaders up. We don't need to go around and be stealing all the limelight. It's been incredibly cool for me to just sit back on this webinar, on this live stream, and just hang out, because I love seeing people shine. I love seeing people live up to their potential. I love bringing our leaders in and having them contribute and be a part of our business. This is not about us anymore. That's the coolest thing. My philosophy is that it's not about me. That's my philosophy. My philosophy is I want to have the richest team. I want to have the most powerful group of people, not because they're power hungry, but because they're hungry for life and hungry for business and hungry to make a difference in other people's lives. And that's the Empower Network difference. You know, that's the difference between us and them. And you know what? There's only two types of people in life as far as I'm concerned. You're either in Empower Network or you're not. That's just all there is to it. I mean, I don't know how else I can simplify this for you if you're watching this webinar and you're wondering, you know, what is on these guys' minds? I don't even know what's going on out there in the world. I don't care. I don't give a shit what's going on out in the network marketing industry. I don't care what Tom, Dick, and Harry are doing. I don't care what the next hot deal's doing. I don't give a shit if somebody's coming out and trying to pay 100% commissions. I don't care if somebody's coming out and stealing our copy. I don't care if somebody's coming out and trying to put on events and they want to say badass, because you're either in Empower Network or you're not. And that's all I see and that's all I care about. You know, because we're in the process of building the richest, most powerful group of leaders in the most badass team that this industry's ever seen. And everything that we say we're going to do, we do. And that's my philosophy, is do what I say, do what I say I'm going to do. And every single time I say I'm going to do something, do it. And keep my promises, be a man of my word, and every single day do my damn best, right? And never ask somebody to do something I'm not willing to do myself, you know? And that's what the difference is between what we're doing and what everybody else is doing. You know, one thing that I want to share with you guys who are on the call who are wondering, you know, what's going to make the biggest difference in my marketing. I was listening to a lot of different, a lot of good feedback and insight and tips and stuff that people were dropping on the call tonight. And the interesting thing is something that Tony Russ said. I think he said this. He said that, you know, your income is going to be in direct proportion. He said something like this, to the amount of value that you give to the community, to the world. And, you know, we could have charged $1,000 for this webinar tonight. But the truth of the matter is our intention is to build a powerful group of people. So there's been a lot of really good marketing advice if you go back and you watch this training again, or you took a lot of notes. But one of the reasons why you've just got to be in Empower Network right now, you know what I'm saying? And there's just no other option. Again, you're in or you're not. I just think there's two kinds of people in the world. I don't see black. I don't see white. I don't see yellow. I don't see purple. I don't see Christian. I don't see Muslim. I don't see brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, purple eyes. I just see you're either in or you're out. That's it. That's it. You're either in or you're out. And one of the reasons that that it's so powerful and beneficial to be in right now is because a lot of people don't get this, but when I first started marketing, I was developing my copywriting skills. I was just actually salivating over this letter that I wrote. If you guys actually have your ticket to Austin, then you can go in and read a letter that I wrote. If you've got your ticket, there's going to be a button that appears in your back office that's called private footage, and go and read that letter. That's just a gangster ass letter that I wrote. I wasn't always I always have spelled horribly, right? But as I was developing my copywriting skills, I got good quick because I learned to write how I talk, and I have a unique ability to be able to communicate. It's what, again, I'm good at two things, like Dave said. One of them is not spelling, the other is not cooking. But when I first started writing sales presentations and letters and stuff like this, I had everything that I needed to write a good letter and to create a good sales presentation except social proof. And I was selling stuff, right? But I didn't have that one element. And that is the most powerful element that you can have inside of your marketing, is social proof, is that everybody else is doing it. When you see a herd of people running somewhere, what do? I don't care who you are, what your name is, where you come from, and how much of a badass you are. You start running with those people because you're like, oh shit, all those people are going in that direction. I should probably be going that way as well. It's the phenomenon of everybody else is doing it, right? And right now, there's so many, we have this unbelievable amount of social proof that's all over the internet, and that also you could come to the events and capture, and you can also take things like what we're doing tonight and use it as social proof as well, because we have this unique ability to be able to sell for you. Is one of the main things, our main selling points at the very beginning, and we've held true to that. We did what we said we were going to do. We said we're going to do all the selling and you can keep all the money. Is that fair enough? And a lot of people, over 70,000 people. Not, of course, they're not all affiliates, but tens of thousands of people said that is a fair deal. But right now, you have a unique ability to be able to capture the social proof that's going on right now. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're struggling making money in your business, if you're struggling making money in network marketing, if you're struggling making money in affiliate marketing right now, it's probably because you're not really capturing the social proof element inside of your marketing. And what we teach you inside of the master's course, I'll tell you, we really teach it in the master's course. But I'll tell you, we've also taught it quite a bit in the 15K formula, is how to really capture the social proof element inside of your business. Friends, that is the most powerful element. And Dave will tell you this as well. So anybody else who sold a lot of shit, online or offline, is that when you capture that social proof element inside of your marketing, you don't even have to be good at selling stuff, and just commissions start appearing in your bank account because of that one element, okay? So guys, there's so many different things that you can learn about that are going on in the background right now, and I just wanted to share that with you before I forgot about it. But there's so many different things that you can use, whether you understand them or not right now in your marketing, to make lots of money with us. But there's those same things that you can really start to understand and absorb over the course. It doesn't take long, weeks or maybe a few months, by going through the 15K formula. We talk about it even in the Costa Rica Intensive, the event that you did, that I came down in, I think it was September of 2011. In those 3 courses, you get those 3 courses, and over the course of the next month, you go through those 3 courses. Guys, you don't need to buy another internet marketing course online. You don't need to go out there and overwhelm or frustrate yourself with a bunch of information overload. All you need to do is go through those courses, and you'll learn the 3 or 4 things, right, that you really need to be focusing on, and you'll learn how you can apply them in your business, just like the social proof element. If you start, Chris Record just said it. He said, Dave Wood taught me how to use an effective call to action. Well, Chris is not on this call, but I almost feel like just calling him and seeing if he put his kids to bed, just seeing if we can take his income up to $80,000 a month from $40,000 a month by getting him to use more social proof inside of his marketing. He's actually already using it. He talked about it a second ago by taking all of the videos, and I don't know if you heard him and picked up on that, all of the videos that he took in San Diego of all the social proof of all of the people making the money and getting results inside of their business, and went out there and every single day emailed out another video out to his list of another person making money inside of their business, getting results with Empowered Network. Guys, that's the stuff that you learn here, the small things that make a big difference. But dude, I mean, that was like the long rant of the philosophy of how I build my business and how I operate on a day-to-day basis. But I'll tell you how I operate, bro, and you know this better than anybody, is I just operate. I'm just myself, man, and I've just got the best interests of the people, and I've just realized that this vision that we've got here is bigger than ourselves.
Hey, well, you rock, brother. Been the best, business partner. Well, I actually have only had one business partner, really, but it's been a great one. So, I don't think you've had any business partners either and stuff, but we just work together well. You know what I'm saying? Is we do. We've got this magic, and you know what I think it comes from? Is it comes from the fact that we get together and we say, how can we help people make more money? That's the intention, How can we help people make more money? And it's always that. It's always that. It's always that. And one of these days, man, I was just telling people the other day, actually, on the call. You might not listen to the Monday night call. I know you had to hop off a couple minutes after you were talking. I was telling people one of these days, one day, and it'll be soon. It'll be, I believe, in 2013. We're going to have an Empowered Jet, and we'll be picking up the top 10 people for a mastermind in the Empowered Jet. And if you ain't in the jet, it's okay. You can see the videos from the sidelines as the top 10 get in. And if you want to be in the jet, you gotta get into the event you gotta get to the event. Don't be a wussy. Just get to the event. Buy the ticket and get to the event. Log into your back office, hit the green button, and buy. Okay.
Hey, one last thing, man. You said, I don't know if you've ever had another business partner, and I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you the magical thing that happens when you get around the right people. I worked construction for a long time off and on. I would struggle a little bit, and my dad, he had a construction company, and he'd let me come and work on his construction sites, and I love to get together and tell stories about some of the things that I used to do when I was working on those job sites. Just unbelievable stories. I mean, just some of the things that went on some of those job sites, I just can't even say publicly. It's so hilarious. But man, I was always at this glass ceiling. I was always at this. I always had this bottleneck that I could never get through. Right. I also experienced it when I got involved in the marketing world. I would work with certain people. And I would always just hit a bottleneck, and what I realized through the last 13, 14 months, man, working with you, bringing people in here, building this company, having all these leaders come in and building this, what I believe is the most powerful mastermind that's ever happened inside of this industry. I believe that what we have is the most powerful group of people that the industry's ever seen. Right now, everybody's watching us. It's all eyes on Empower. People are out there copycatting us. There's all of these different people who are, from this day forward, like I said, direct sales and marketing will never be the same again. It just won't. Our reach, our span has now infiltrated even the internet marketing worlds, like the IM guys who just sell courses and stuff. It's our reach is just so deep right now. The industry will never be the same again. But all that happened because the right people got around the right people. It all happened because we stopped working with the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of like I touched on it a second ago. Somebody else touched on it earlier. When you're hanging around the wrong people, when you're hanging around people who are who live in a bottleneck, who live in a glass ceiling, who live with an attitude of not abundance but of lack, who just don't have the same principles that you have, you're always going to be struggling, you're always going to be fighting, you're always going to be hitting a glass ceiling. And what happens when people come in and start working around us, and it's not just us, it's our leaders, it's the wives, it's just the atmosphere, it's the energy that we have. People, their real potential comes out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they finally feel like they're in a place that they can be themselves, and what they've always wanted to do and meant to be, it just kind of comes out naturally. And it's been this amazing ride. And I always knew when I was on those construction sites that I had this amazing gift, and I had that I would be in front of people one day telling my story and inspiring people. I just didn't know how I was going to get there, so hooking up with the right people, man, has been something that has been the most powerful thing inside of my life. So if you're listening to this call and you're feeling like you're in a situation that you're limited. If you're looking around at the people that you're spending the majority of your time, realizing that you're not most likely going to go any farther than where you're at right now with those people, I'm going to tell you right now, you better damn make a move. You better damn not waste another day hanging around people that you are not meant to hang around. And that doesn't mean that you have to go and give away all of your income and quit your job tomorrow and just go full-time inside of your business. But it damn sure means that you need to make a decision. Number one, to join right now. Number two, you're already in, to get all in and get to Austin, and to meet us and to see us and to shake our hands, give us hugs, and come and see us in person. Because a lot of times people sit behind their computer and it's kind of just this fantasy. It's kind of like a video game or something until they go in. And the cool thing is a lot of companies don't give you the opportunity to come and experience it in person. Come and experience it in person and get inspired. Get inspired to go and do what you were meant to do in life. Get inspired. If you're sitting around and if you forgot what it was like to dream again, come and meet us and let us pump you full of inspiration. So a lot of people walk around and they say, that kind of weird personal development, brainwashing stuff, it's kind of hoo-hoo. The truth of the matter is the majority of the people need to be brainwashed. They need a brainwashing. Because the shit that they've been putting in their head over the course of the last couple of years or decade is absolute garbage. And what we need to do is help you take the trash out. The trash is coming on January 18th. The trash man's coming, and we're going to help you take all of the garbage that's accumulated inside of your head and set it out at the street. And we're going to drop it off at the landfill, and we're going to burn that shit, and we're going to fill your head with what is supposed to be in it, which is vision, which is inspiration, which is the permission for you to be yourself and go out there and inspire the world with your story. So I'm just looking forward to meeting the badasses who are going to meet us out there in Austin.
Well, they'll all be badasses because if you're a wussy, you're not allowed to go. So it's just it's just how it is. Well, Dave, man, I can't tell you enough. I appreciate you. And, everybody in Power Network, you got to appreciate Dave if you don't, because without Dave, we wouldn't be around, just straight up. I definitely couldn't have kept this together on my own when we were going through those problems and done what Dave Sharp was doing. I couldn't have done it. And but also, I couldn't have launched it, and it wouldn't have been what it is without him, because I had an idea that morphed into something that was greater than I had when Dave Sharp and I started working together. So appreciate you, man. It's the vision, and it's becoming a reality, and it's time to help everybody shine and lift them up in 2013. So thanks for popping on, brother, hanging out with us for hours.
You got it, man. You got it. Oh, I love you too, man. I love you. I love your family, dude. I was just thinking about that earlier today. I don't remember what you sent me. I was reading some email or listening to something, and I was just like, this is what life is about, man. You know what I'm saying? Building relationships with people that are not just business relationships, but are friendships, man. You know what I'm saying? That are. It's guys. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you haven't experienced it yet, I'm telling you, it's life changing. You've just got to get in. You've got to get all in. You've got to get serious. You've got to make a decision right now that you're going to experience all life has to offer, and you've got to put your guard down and realize that if you're broke or you're not in the place in life that you want to be, that what your best thinking got you there. I had to admit it too. Okay, I crawled my beaten ass up on my dad's doorstep with nothing but a couple of some garbage bags full of dirty clothes almost 5 years ago. I had to admit that my best thinking got me there. And I had to start listening to people who had the results that I want. And from that point, guys, I've made relationships with people that I wouldn't trade for anything. I've had experiences that you could take everything from me, and it wouldn't matter because I have those. So I love you guys. I love you, Ashley. I love you, Dave, man. You know, I mean, this is just, it's the best damn thing. It's the best gig in town, and there's only two types of people, badasses who are in Empower Network and weenies who are not.
Yeah, or people that are about to be a badass because they just saw this for the first time and they're joining right now. And so I suppose that's kind of a third, but they're still on a little bit the weenie side if they ain't in quite yet. You know, just maybe a little, but they're about to graduate as they join now. All right, I got to bring Ash out here for a sec. So Dave, if you want to hang out, you know, I know you said you had to go. If you want to hang out for a few minutes, cool. I'm actually gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna take off here in just a couple minutes as well. I'm actually getting tired tonight. You know, or I go for another 8 hours.
Hey, I love you guys. I'm gonna pop off, but I'll chat with you later, Dave. See you, Ash.
Cool, man. Well, it's good. It's good bringing you on, Ash, and I know you don't get a chance to pop onto a lot of our live streams and stuff like that because you know, you're busy doing all this stuff. But you know, I figured I would just save the best for last. You know what I'm saying? You know, just call it like it is. And I was trying to make a tactic here, save the best for last. It's like, you know, you eat the most delicious thing at the end of the meal here. And I just love you tons. And you know, without you, I couldn't have done this. But also, I think that you've got a super unique perspective for everybody who's on here. Because if you guys ain't met Ashley, you just got to come to Austin just to meet Ash. But you know, you've been with me, of course, through all this stuff that I talk about, and you've been there with me when I was working with people that treated me like garbage for years when I was making a lot of money. That I don't talk about a lot because it's not good to talk about. But you know, you were around me with, you know, that perspective. But you've also met everybody who's making a lot of money. You've met a lot of people that aren't making a lot of money in Empower. So I have no idea what you want to say, but I just like, you know, letting you talk about what you want. So what's on your mind? What are your thoughts for people?
Well, I was thinking about the event coming up because we've been talking about it and how going to Austin really does change people's lives. And it's not life that keeps you prisoner or keeps you trapped. It's you who makes your decisions and decides what you want your life to be. And you can decide to be at the event, or you can decide that you want to be a prisoner of your fear and your doubts and what you see as impossible. To get started on anything, you have to look at your resources. You can't look at your lack. You have to look at what you do have. And sometimes in life, all we have is our grit and our determination. So if you have grit and you have determination, you can get anywhere in life. But you can't keep yourself a prisoner of fear. Fear steals the life out of you. So you have to make your courage bigger than your fear. And you do that by loving yourself. I mean, loving yourself enough to say that, yes, you deserve these things. And yes, you deserve to be happy and to go to the event. And I was talking to Kimberly Tilley, and she was talking about how events are like family reunions, but better, you know, because it's a huge family at events. And for me, it's a family reunion without any drama, so it's spectacular. So I was thinking about how it's time that we get more people to the event in Austin. And Empower Network events are like nothing else. And no Empower Network is like another one. And my favorite thing is to go places I've never been, to do things I've never done, and to meet people I've never met before. And that's what is so exciting about Austin. You just don't know what's going to happen. I never know until I get there. I mean, the event planners coordinate it, and we just get our itineraries, and it's a surprise to us. We really don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of cool. So we'll be getting there from Johnny's wedding, which is David's brother. He's getting married. And, you know, you have to choose if you're going to marry Empower Network. It was making me think about that, how interesting it is that his little brother is getting married right before an Empower Network event. Let's see, it says, am I still here? Was I muted that whole time? No? Oh, okay. Anyway, it's been a very, very long hangout, everybody, and I hate to keep you guys up longer, but we're doing a book club, and we're doing books of the month, and the first book is How You Can Achieve Unlimited Wealth and Success in Every Area of Your Life by Jeffrey St. Lawrence. So go on and do that. And if you guys want to be on the Google Hangout when we do that book, you guys are going to have to read it and comment on the blog post. So there's a blog post on my wall, and there's a blog post on Kimberly Tilley's wall. So you guys get to write your own blog posts too about how you can achieve unlimited wealth and success in every area of your life. You guys are beautiful, and I love you all. So anyway, I need to hit the bed because I woke up at 5 a.m. and I have to wake up again tomorrow. So it's about midnight here. But anyway, you guys are awesome, and I'll see you in Austin, and I'll talk to you later. So that's all I wanted to say.
Love you guys. Guys, we will go ahead and end the broadcast now. With that being said, we will see you in Austin, Texas. You are all incredible for being here. We love you. Everybody just tell Ash you love her in the comments, just, so she can see. Just tell her you love her if you appreciated her popping out here. She waited a long time just to say a few sentences, and my only regret, she couldn't come out for like an hour or something, but now we're both tired enough to where it couldn't happen anyway. So we love you, and we love you guys. Love you, Ash. Guys, get there, get your family there, and I'll see you on the beaches of the world, because it's about as living the lifestyle. And if you ain't in Empower Network, you ain't running with us, you ain't living the lifestyle you want. So if you ain't in, get all in, folks. Tomorrow night, we have a webinar. It's a training webinar. Last thing I'll say, we have a training webinar tomorrow night with Aaron Rashkin. As you guys know, we've been redoing the 15K formula. At each webinar, I've asked the question. I've asked the question specifically, okay? Is this webinar alone worth more than $1,000? The cost of the 15K formula is $1,000. Right now, we're on webinar number 9, okay? Without question, people on the webinars have given feedback that not only they're worth at least $1,000 each, but we should charge more for that product because of the information that's in that product. We should charge more for the product. We should charge more than $1,000, okay? You need to be on this webinar tomorrow, because we're going to be covering how to convert your leads into cash and how to upsell your leads from there. Okay, how to convert your leads into more cash. Who's doing it? It's Aaron Rashkin. He's one of the best in the world at this. Okay, he's one of the best in the world. All right, and he's going to be talking about how to sell and upsell through email and how to upsell on the phone. And there ain't nobody better at teaching that stuff than Aaron. You want to be on there. That webinar alone will be worth more than $1,000. If you're in the 15K formula, you just need to log in, click on 15K, register for the webinar. It's the link at the top. And if you do not have the 15K, you can still attend the webinar, but you need to click that button back there that says 15K. You'll go to a sales video, pull out your credit card, upgrade to the 15K. We will absolutely, without question, see you guys tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and get your tickets to Austin. We are going to increase the price here again soon just because we're running out of space. Love you, appreciate you. And last thing I got to say, who else has 1,000 people after 3.5 hours on a live stream? There ain't nobody, because they ain't you, because you guys are the most badass group that ever walked the face of the earth. Love you, appreciate you, and see you in Austin.